Please note the views and opinions expressed by the hosts on this show are not necessarily the views held by the station.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now, it's our turn.
Good evening. What is this, Monday? Yeah, Monday night, Moon Day. Yeah. Welcome to Outside the Box. I'm your hostess, Kate of Gaia. Coming at you 7 nights a week, whether you're here or not. It doesn't really matter. I'm kicking into the universe, and that's all good. Love to have you, though. It's beautiful. Love to see those mirrors. Lots of neat feedback over the last day or so. People testing out their own present abilities, and it works. Isn't that funny? Yeah, I got word from a few people, and when you start putting a little bit of trust in yourself, I mean, and keep in mind, guys, we've been a long time getting back to this point of peeling off as many layers as we have, and don't get discouraged. And I say that because I'm speaking from experience. It's very easy to get discouraged, right? Do not get discouraged if you're not quite grasping what's going on, and that's okay. That's okay. What was the one quote that Kishi posted? I thought was beautiful quote. Just scrolling to it now. As my Skype backs up a little faster. It's from Ramana Maharishi. All right, he said this. No matter what strange things appear, simply take the attitude, let's see, and remain with that. And that's a fundamental basic to learning how to trust yourself again, because fundamentally that is what we have been steered away from. If you look at the system and how the system works, it has everyone trusting in something external to help them. And yeah, how's that working for us? So, and on that note, I'm going to be getting into part 3 tonight. I had contemplated reading all 3 essays together so that they were, on one episode. But I don't want to do that because a lot of things that were covered on the individual shows that they were done are very pertinent to them, and I don't want to distract from the last element of it. And I am going to be working on a couple of different essays. One to fully outline what money is for those that still might not have the concept of how money is a spiritual contract. It will also include things like urine therapy and what is actually being extracted from us there as well in the ether, which was covered in the second part of Raining Cats and Dogs. So I kind of want to do a bit more of a comprehensive sort of Cole's notes of what we've been talking about over the last few weeks, to try to bring a lot of this information that has been coming fast and furious, to bring it into something that people can easily digest. And that for me is my biggest frustration. Not with anyone else but me. It's trying to put into words the very strange concepts that just magically appear and go, oh, that kind of, yeah, that works. And it boils down to trusting oneself. So just going to pop over to the room here for a sec before, thanks, Ninj, absolutely, before I get cracking on this essay. And just do a couple of shout-outs here while I'm at it, because I feel that I don't do that enough. I just want to say hi to everybody. I wish I had everybody's, customary calling to shout out to you, but please consider that I am anyway. Hey, Otis, nice to see you. And glad you watched Cloud Atlas. What a mind job indeed. Here's a trick question for everybody. Does anybody know who Old Georgie is? I kind of left that one alone. I wanted to see if anyone would actually mention the character that Old Georgie is. And if you guys want to pop it in on Facebook or on Skype, that would be great. And if you don't know who that or what that character excuse me, represents allegorically, it will give you a completely different perspective on the movie once you know who and what it is. And I would urge, as always, to watch something 3, 4, 5 times. You will get something different out of it, because that's the thing about epiphanies and discovering these little gems of truth. Once you have them, once you've gathered those pearls, you go back and look at it again, because you've already gathered some pearls from it. You will gather so many more because you have a different foundation now. You have a different moment of now. And I'm going to touch on that a bit more again tonight, explaining the concept of present versus being in the now. It's a bit of a... it's not that tough to get. I will tell you, though, it is very difficult to maintain. You get those beautiful fleeting moments of, where did it go? Oh, there it is again. Oh, where did it go? And get used to that. I mean, this is about finding your center. This is about trusting yourself. And nothing more. This is about overcoming, and of course you don't trust yourself because there's fear involved. And everything fundamentally boils down to that. Who just got the right answer there? I just saw it. Yes, Blu-ray, you got it right. Absolutely, you got it right. Yeah, that's exactly who and what it is. So if you haven't seen the movie without knowing that, I'll share it in a little bit. I want people to ponder it. I really hate giving answers to people because it runs the chance that I can taint someone listening. Because we've all been so conditioned to seek answers outside of ourselves. School. I know that one, Miss Johnson. I know that one. And looking to be, to have your physical illusion verified by someone else. No, I don't want to do that. I will pass hints along as to what I've found and give out concepts for people to investigate and look for themselves. And of course, it's beautiful. I get the feedback on it. When people click on the concepts, it doesn't take long before you start trusting yourself completely again. And only when we get that beautiful center of trust within ourselves, we shatter what is left of the illusion, or more that we shatter the control that it has over us. We can still be caught in it, there's no question. And that's okay too. So here we go. Raining Cats and Dogs. Part 3. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. Thus is the end result of destroying one's ego. Once the ego program is shattered with the learned truths and choices, there is nothing the system can do to put it back together. Only the ego can be manipulated where the true you cannot. Is it any wonder that those wishing to keep the programs running attack so viciously those that dare to awaken? My own position, although not an easy one to endure, is a position I must hold at all costs. The denial of truth is the acceptance of ego program rulership. Once again, it really is quite that simple. And before I go on, I should have mentioned you can get this right now at kateofgaia.wordpress.com. Ninja has already loaded it up. My apologies. I hate stopping the flow, but I wanted to put that out there. So if anybody wanted to go and get it, go to kateofgaia.wordpress.com, and you can read along with me. There you go. So carrying on here. Second paragraph. Only in the denial of truth learned can an ego program take root again, and, as in nature, when something takes root, it grows. The most valuable food to an ego is fear, and why the system uses its only trick to keep that program running. This is not about denying one's fears either. In this illusion, fear is made to appear very real. From the physical standpoint, it is something that needs to be confronted, not retreated from. In my own journey, fear has played a major role in the shaping of who and what I am today, with some minor fear issues still being confronted in my own version of baby steps. I am no different than anyone else in this regard. I merely have my own shadows to deal with where you have yours. The Humpty Rhyme is just another example of little allegories staring us in the face, and only with new eyes and perspectives can we even begin to start seeing them. This reality is based on fixations to keep people spellbound on all three levels of mind, body, and spirit. I'd say they're doing a grand job in that effort, no? The proofs are everywhere to satiate any rational mind, even one controlled by the tricky little bastard called ego. The letter E as a prefix means no, so it's pretty clear to me that if one has ego, one has no-go power. The ego is a lustful and greedy little bastard too, and that is the main focus of the stock markets. All one has to do is look at what they sell, and it's pretty clear. Stocks and bonds. Stocks were not a good thing to find yourself in medieval times, especially when the crowds had rotten tomatoes to throw at you, and being bonded means you're glued to something. Thus, the birth certificate bond, which has proven to be a sticky versus tricky little bastard, and needs to be peeled off in Trinity form, also known as mind, body, and spirit. If we remain in one- and two-dimensional thinking, we'll never get 3D on this level, and most people are fixated on mind and body only, where spirit is not a concept that the masses can truly grasp. Sure, many will speak of spirit and get ethereal on occasion, but until they realize that they are not the name they think they are, they will never see this level. Seriously, can anyone even think of setting their spirit, their true self, free if they're still quagmired in the mind and body illusion? The straw man, tin man, and cowardly lion are the allegories of mind, body, and spirit, and the last thing to conquer before you can be Dorothy, or Dorotheos, God, in toto genre, full character, is your fear. To an infinite being, fear is the grandest illusion of them all. I'd love for someone to explain to me exactly what an infinite immortal consciousness has to fear from anything. Fear is the only thing that can offer you a sense of actually living and why it must be experienced at all. It comes in infinite forms and quantities depending on what you need to experience. Fear is only there to be overcome, and that, for me, is the truest test of all, and the only challenge in existence we have. One must not loathe fear nor love it, merely find the 0 point within self, where it is balanced and where you can baby step from. That's why pilots begin to learn to fly in small single-engine aircraft versus sitting behind the stick of a jumbo jet with 500 passengers. It is about what responsibility one can handle that masters all fears. In seeking the truth, you have accepted a greater responsibility in creation, and, of course, fear walks lockstep with responsibility. If one seeks a higher meaning of truth, then one must also accept the responsibility of what that knowledge offers. It would be pointless to say that one is seeking the truths of this reality, find them, then just as quickly deny them, because there is some fear attached to it. Here's the catch-22, however, in that you're damned if you do and damned if you don't. By attaining a higher understanding and stepping into it, you become a blip on the spiritual radar, where you have entered no man's land or the neutral zone. I like to use the Rubicon allegory here, inasmuch as once you've chosen to cross the Rubicon River, you are making it clear that you are marching on Rome with no turning back. The very notion of turning back is repulsive to me, but then I made my choice a little more absolute than most could stomach. The good news is they don't have to, but it must be made abundantly clear that once you find the truth and realize the ramifications of that knowledge, one now has the responsibility to stand in that knowledge at all costs or succumb to the ego and retreat. I already mentioned the catch-22, so if you can't handle the heat, stop seeking the fires. If you seek to save yourself, and only you can, where truth will set you free, there is a greater responsibility to be accepted. If you feel you can't handle the responsibilities of being truly free by seeking the truths, stop reading and listening now. Return to the lazy boy and TV. This is not a game for the faint of heart or gimme-gimmes. The higher roads come with a more dangerous path, but the view is magnificent. You can remain as the one tin soldier of the valley making war with the mountain folk, or you can continue the trek up. The choice is one of free will, and it is one that must be made. Sit on the wall beside Humpty and, well, you know what happens there, and it won't be the ego that gets shattered, it will be your spirit. There is no time for fence or wall sitting, because eventually someone or something will come and knock you off to make sure you move forward or backwards, and the choice is always ours. I have experienced the effects of many people who have awakened to the basics of this reality in its apparent injustices perceived. However, that is as far as they get, where they cannot see beyond the physical chains and get caught up in the same old dramas that keep them in denial and going circular. People somehow forget that I was there at one time as well, and simply chose to push on through, regardless of the perceived costs, where a bigger picture was in view. Most are focused on their immediate needs, their wants, where their scope of influence is limited to only themselves and who they care about in their immediate family and friend circles. Sorry, the world is slightly larger than that view, and this is one of the boxes that most are still trapped in. I have seen the Savior program running incessantly, where people are quite content to ask me for answers versus guidance, for them to handle their own realities and issues, much akin to how the system controls the masses via the nanny state. People habitually elect their controllers to do things for them, and then bitch and whine when they're not satisfied with the results of government efforts. Well, that's what happens when the foxes get elected to guard your hen houses, so you may want to consider revising the approach. Unfortunately, in that revision, one must begin to take full responsibility for their own lives and slowly spiral out to guide others to do the same. I have also written countless papers, documents, essays, and articles outlining my own experiences and put them into easy-to-understand form, but most will never see it because their asses are still parked beside Humpty's. I believe the expression is shit or get off the pot, as I recall it from my youth. I have lost count the number of people who showed up at my door to get something from me that they wanted and needed. The trouble is, what they wanted and needed was for me to make all their troubles go away with what I was able to write and do, but they forgot the one thing most important to understand. It wasn't enough for a document to be written for someone. It had to be fully grasped by the one who received it. Most times, people don't want to read the fine print or the large print even. They were only concerned with making things right in their world. The rest be damned. Sorry, responsibility doesn't work that way. The biggest difference between me and most people is that I've made far more mistakes than they have, and, as a result, gained more knowledge from my experiential mirror, because I chose to do something on my own, no nanny required. One of the first things I realized was the corruption within the system itself, and regardless of what facts were presented, the system chugged along with all its meat stick drones mindlessly doing what a mindless meat stick slave does, and woe betide you if you dare to rock their sleepy boat. I also got to witness and be part of many things that saw the system's cracks, where I was not only able to peer into them allegorically, but I was also able to insert a wedge to open it up even more. One of the larger clues was a judge of their system, a high priest, if you will, bowed to me where later others had only fear in their eyes, knowing that I knew what they were doing and was calling them out on it to their lying faces. I've had many articles, reports, and even TV shots where defaming myself and the truths uncovered to try and keep a lid on Pandora's box, but unfortunately for them, the genie is out of the allegorical bottle. I see the system ramp up its efforts of fear porn in a vain attempt to outflank the destruction of their reality, but that's not working anymore either, where all I can do is laugh. I have seen where myself and others have literally changed the world reality in key efforts being injected like a virus into the crumbling machine and empiric illusions. I see many still focusing on the illusions shown to them for them to power it up with their own infantile intentions, rubbernecking the false flags, chemtrails, GMO foods, etc., without realizing that these illusions are kept in place and effect by the constant staring. I have met too many experts in too many fields to count who are busy staring at what is happening, but never asking why, on more than the obvious levels. We're dealing with entities that have been master of this particular game for too long, and we're not going to solve it by doing the same things we have done for countless millennia. No, in order to stop traveling in circles, we must jump the tracks from this crazy train we're riding on and get drastically original in our thinking, and more importantly, our responsibility. Do not expect anything to change in your reality unless you change your operating basis. The most critical thing for me was my choice to stand in truths found regardless of the cost. One must choose meat stick reality or divine spiritual reality. That is the real catch-22. If one seeks to play in the Whore of Babylon game with your mark of the beast name, then your spirit, mind, and body are owned and will be recycled until you finally choose the only thing that can set you free: truth. If you choose a spiritual path, well then you can expect things to get a little difficult on the physical planes, because you're defragging their program, and your would-be masters don't like that. The catch-22 is that whichever path you choose, one or the other is damned. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. I simply chose infinity. Here's the magic of choosing your own aspect of consciousness, in that weird and wacky things start to happen. Once you choose to stand in the truth, universe steps in, but one must take the real leap of faith, and that is trust in yourself and your own intuitive heart. People talk about changing this and changing that, but all I usually see are people trying to use the constructs that have them trapped in the first place. That is quite simply insane as far as I can tell and observe it. If your car engine starter stops working and it doesn't start after a smack with a hammer, it won't matter how many times you hit it until you know where and how to hit it. Most will simply end up destroying it and weary themselves in the process. One cannot expect an abundance of money to solve their problems when it's the money that is the problem in the first place. Money creates separation, where those in control of it control those without it. And the longer that concept is embedded, the longer our spirits are enslaved. I have outlined the ethereal trap of what money truly is, where the very essence of consciousness is, by our consent, trapped in it via the register or Regis stir. For more information on that, please read a couple of other essays I've written and outlined the spirit traps that have been uncovered. Those essays are called The Long and Short of It, I Who Shall Not Be Named. Also, it is not easy to convey these concepts because I deal mostly in what is hidden from view, so it's not easy for people to accept things that they have not known for a very long time, and, that is, they're very divine being. I've endured much doubt and second-guessing myself for much of my life, but as I see things unfold in the physical as it mirrors the spiritual, my doubts get fewer every day, and such is the nature of my own walk. Most, if not all things I talk about, come from an ethereal perspective, where I only see the physical realm as the effect of my own causations. This concept takes a bit of practice, but just like learning to play an instrument, they, like truth, have to have time spent with to make them your friend. I often told people I was teaching guitar to not expect a guitar to be your friend if you won't talk to it. Such is the nature of the universe. Many of us have a lot of garbage to sort through, where we have had lifetimes full of programs and indoctrinations to purge from our personal hard drives, or to clear the RAM of Aries in order to allow our own self-installed programs to run properly. This is where fear comes into play in a major way. It is incredibly difficult to let go of everything we ever thought of as real, but once you realize that it was someone else painting your reality, it wasn't even yours to begin with. In short, you're holding on to someone else's illusions and making them your own. I like to refer to this as defragging the Savior program. All one needs to do is ask oneself if the choice they are making is based on their experience, or is it based on something that came from tradition, culture, religion, school, society, etc. These are all divide and conquer tactics to keep people looking outside of themselves for an answer, or something to blame for their woes. I've done it. We've all done it. Even what I'm writing here can be misconstrued as the very same thing. However, the intent is a lot different now. I am long wearied helping people only to have them throw knives in my back after they have achieved a slightly better existence than they had before. To them, they have won. Satiated ego survival, where anything further would have more responsibility in it. So they move along. I've had people come to me with gifts that were actually debt obligations in the age-old duality program of I gave you something, now you owe me. Woe's betide you if you don't have the answer they want versus the truth they need. That's where you get tossed to the curb and bad-mouthed accordingly. Until people can move beyond these programs, they are lost, and there is nothing we can or should do. They are physical illusionists seeking physical desires. They want their cake and want to eat it too. They want the miracle externally to satiate the physical comforts, and when your magic wand doesn't work for them, because it can't, you become chopped liver. If one is playing the rescuer, one is assuming the role of an external savior, where pedestals are built just high enough for you to step into the wicker man trap, where you will burn. Then there are those of us who are seeking our own answers from the greater than physical illusion realms, where we know something is far grander than our eyes can see in this limited one-dimensional light realm. The simple truth is that all things in the physical can only be seen in the past, never in the now or present moments. It takes all external light time to travel to your eyes, be it from a perceived distant star or the nose on your face. It's all in the past moment. We must learn to begin to be observers from our own 0 point, where your source of light is now, since you're generating it. That point of light is centered in your heart, your macabre of your consciousness. And the only way to begin seeing that is to start closing your eyes to the exterior past illusions. This is the only place you can be in creation mode, the present. Always keep in mind the golden rule and the trespassing on others' free will choice. Creation is not a democracy. It is a unanimous anarchy, where all things must be accepted by all participants in co-creation of the worlds we envision. The ego is the one that says you can't do something when your own heart, you, knows you can and should. Only fear gets in between. We've long been taught to doubt ourselves based on groupthink and peer pressure, our pre-indoctrinated program since our literal birth into this physical game. The lessons you seek to learn will be learned this time, or they won't. But just remember, the playground your choices will see you exit or re-enter lifetime after lifetime, until you can finally say enough and trust your own heart. For those hearing or reading this, be grateful that you got this far and make a choice as to where you go from here. This realm is all about lack and loss, winning and losing, or as simply put as I can, it's about contrast. To learn the value in that contrast and be grateful or spiteful about it. The hardest thing I have to confront daily in others is their ego and its walking on rice paper to have any resemblance to a normal conversation. Ego loves drama, blame, emotions, desires, things, entertainment, etc., because that requires no real sense of responsibility, and where trespassing on others is commonplace. The ego must defend and justify, and it will do so to the point of extreme violence. It is based and debased in the 5 senses, only where you, the real you, is not limited by such constructs unless you willfully choose it. There is nothing wrong with the physical universes in that all creation is and must be perfect. This particular playground has been run by the bullies for too long, where the physical realm actually rules them in their own possessed mirrors. There are those of us that have chosen to play a different game here, one of a higher purpose, in our own self-discovery and planetary prison break. I choose to let the perceived fools puff up their peacock chests in self-aggrandizement, where they are the big sharks in a small pond and less than minnows in the larger oceans of truth. Unfortunately, the sleepy slaves are awakening to their chains, and every day more and more enter the fray on the I've had enough side of things. It is a short step from that awakening to what is really going on, but one must get outside of the constructed box to destroy it. The divided and conquered cats and dogs have been running this asylum for too long, where these are our own aberrations, our own reflections within So where does the blame truly fall? When we hand over our power to external constructs, it will only be the most ego-trapped beings that lust for that power. Are these the parts of our consciousness we really want to have determining our reality? Or are we going to finally say enough, let go of the garbage, unpack our collective camels and move forward? The only other choice is the devil we already know, and we've seen what that got us. All of the perceived ancient teachers have been telling us the same thing, where the truths were distorted due to our own believing in what some ego-driven meatstick told us as we play the infinite game of telephone, where someone altered the message along the line, where some of us are trying to repair it. If one follows and worships the system, those in control of it will choose for you what information you are allowed to receive. So don't be surprised if everything isn't as you were taught to think it is. One of the saving graces of evil is that it must ultimately destroy itself, since destruction is its modus operandi. I have simply chosen to bring as much of it as I can into the light where the vampires are destroyed by their own false light. In the meantime, be happy with the wars, the desolation, and the wanton destruction of a most beautiful world, all the while missing the most beautiful essence in the universe, the Creator itself, and that is you. It's high time to turn all that creative intention inwards, instead of reinforcing the external illusions that have us all trapped. If you're staring at the physical illusions, you will miss the greatest show in the universe. Just as in The Wizard of Oz, it was Toto that pulled back the curtain to expose the powerless controller, not Dorothy. You have to be in your full character to see past the apocalypse to find the door of Theos, the door to your divine self. This yellow brick road we each have to walk in our own way will take you to the Emerald City and beyond. It requires only that you walk it, regardless of the illusional fears you will think of and ultimately manifest for yourself and others if you're not careful. God is light, ye are gods, remember? You can do greater things than I, as it was so eloquently and humbly stated. Sorry, there is no one coming to save you. That is yours to create for yourself. There are no answers in this system to solve this system. It was never meant to be solved, only torn down, exposing it for the lies and destructive fraud illusion that it is. Only upon the rubble of this system and its slave master program destroyed can we begin to build the worlds of our dreams, and not before it. That which you resist will persist. So indeed, resistance is futile, in that you're only pouring the exact energy needed to keep this construct in place. I choose to rubberneck the truth and keep my eyes on the prize, as it were, versus constantly powering up the very things that have kept all of us enslaved and worshipping this false idol that keeps the serpent eating its own tail. This is a never-ending story into a journey of self-discovery and infinite potential, and it truly is a magical place once you begin to see it, and I know some of you are. The journey home begins trusting where you live, and nothing and no one else. That includes what you're reading or hearing here. We have too long been ruled by the paintings of reality by others that had it in their best interest to keep you in a perpetual lockdown, but the keys to the kingdom are contained within, exactly where most will never take the time to look. Such is the nature of bread and circuses and external beliefs. Such is the program of ego. Indeed, Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall, from whence he, she, it fell. The only remaining question is, exactly who built that wall? That one is for you to answer for yourself, and the only hint I will offer is what I did to answer that. I faced both sides of my own mirror, and likely why most cats and dogs growl or hiss when they see their own true reflections for the first time. The camel's Humpty must be Dumpty after all. Imagine that. Was in love. Yours truly. So there's the third installment for y'all. And got one little typo where it said is and it should say isn't. But that's okay. It means both each way. Anyway. There you go. So what I think I'm going to do here is let that sink in for a sec and toss on a tune. Let's see, get my page back open here. Here we go. Sort of. I love my word program. Excuse me. So let me see. I know what I'm going to play. I think it's very, very poignant for this. Let's see. So let me just do this first, and we'll be right back after the tune.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
All right. Okay. Rescue. Here we go. I think if we get people emailing, then they can decide whether this song makes the album or not. All right. Take my hand, rest your weary heart a moment. One last stand for what you've always dreamed of. Here I am, an island in your stormy waters, and rescue. It's just a word away, it's just a word away. I've watched you try, I've seen you spread your wings to fly, without a place to land, not so much as one horizon, but you push on through every wall that still surrounds you. Set down your stubborn pride, it's a friendship I can't hide, so take my hand. Rest your weary heart a moment. One last stand for what you've always dreamed of. Here I am, an island in your stormy waters, and rescue. It's just a word away. It's just a word away. You think that I don't hear you when you say you'll find that's true. It's what you cannot say, it's your eyes that give away. I know when my friend's hurting, that's why I'll share the burden. I've been where you are right now, I'm still there, still learning how. So take my hand, rest your weary heart a moment. One last stand for what you've always dreamed of. Here I am, an island in your stormy waters, and rescue. It's just a word away. It's just a word away. Take my hand, rest your weary heart a moment. One last stand for what you've always dreamed of. Here I am, an island in your stormy waters, and rescue. It's just a word away. I said rescue. It's just a word away. Hey, it's just a word away. Yeah, that always catches me off guard. Yeah, that was taken from a live radio show. I still haven't went through the show to hear what other tunes were there. There wasn't a whole lot that I picked up at the studio that day. I think it was 4 gig of about 35 or 36 gig of information, song files. So I'll make an effort to get back down there and collect some more. I'm going to do a little digging around here to see if I can get a couple other tunes loaded up for you guys. Oh, there goes the phone. Not for me. I'm not here. Anyway, yeah, these are definitely interesting times, and I gotta say thank you to everyone that sends the feedback. It's invaluable because I don't know what my mirror is saying until it starts talking back to me. My mirror is you. And I think, for the most part, this has been one of the reasons why we've been so easy to enslave, because we're too busy working with the ego program saying, I'm right, and not reflecting back from ourselves. You get a lot more done when you sit around a table with like-minded individuals that don't have an agenda to be right, where they're all seeking the same knowledge, where they all have similar questions on a similar quest, similar purpose, where ego does not even consider entering the equation. Because an ego has to defend a position. Truth doesn't need defending. It certainly doesn't need believing. It is what it is. And you can argue all day long against a truth, and you will be wrong. Truth cannot be wrong. That's the whole thing about it. So that's why I really enjoy the information that comes back. So, and remember, guys, the lines are open here. So let's get a little chit chat happening here tonight. Working on that song, by the way. It's the title of it is what I have so far is We Do This Together. It took a little bit, as per normal, when I pick my guitar up with intent. It's amazing how the one thing that and it was very obvious once of course that's what it's supposed to be. When I started playing through the mainstay chords of it, how the chorus worked out, it's almost, that's the thing, it's so much easier to download a song when the verses come in first, and much more difficult when the chorus comes in first. Because the chorus is the highlight of the song, right? So if the chorus comes in first, you've already had the musical orgasm, right? So it's kind of, we'll go back to foreplay then. Right? So, but anyway, it takes a bit. And one of the things that I do love about it is when you do get back to the verse that's been a bit sticky for you, didn't download when the chorus came, then you go, yeah, and then you get this beautiful balance of orgasm from the verse and the chorus. So, see, good and evil, even in songwriting, unbelievable. But so please, guys, I'd love to hear your thoughts. So you can call in area code 661-467-2401. Of course, refresh the page if you don't see the little Skype button where you're listening, and you can hit the Skype there and call in. As soon as you get on the board, all you have to do is hit 1 on either on your phone dial pad or open up the dial pad on Skype and push 1 there. Or if you're in the Love and Stuff room, just let me know that if you're on Skype, well, you have to be if you're going to be in the Love and Stuff room. If you can't figure out the dial pad, and I'll certainly open up your mic for you. And I'm just going to head over to the Love and Stuff room now to see if anyone has any questions. Oh, it looks like we got Billy. One sec, Billy. Let me just get down here and check this. Where are we? Yeah, Skype lag. No kidding, eh? I've been trying to get my computer completely defragged over the last couple of days, and just does not want to completely clean itself out. Oh, thank you, hon. You caught where the typo was. Good job. Love you. Oh yeah, Skype lag. It's an interesting thing that's happening. I've been having a look around. There was some great feedback. And this is where I have to be very careful in what I'm observing and how I'm observing it. Because it's very easy to slip in and out of allegorical to literal mode. We've been conditioned our entire lives to be in the literal mode. So don't be too hard on yourself. Just pull a Homer Simpson and go, dope, and you're okay. At least you spotted it. It's when you, that's the thing, when you can't spot it, or haven't been able to up to this point, you're going in circles anyway. So, Billy, what's on your mind tonight, my friend?
I like what you said. I was tuning in and out. yesterday, but you're talking about the 30th level. I mean, you're spot on every time. I hear you, but that was pretty wild. And then I had a question about like etymology. I have like writing up to God knows where, but do you think I should kind of revamp some of the words, or kind of go back? I want to kind of rewrite things, or is it really?
No. Just leave it as is. I mean, the intent was in the words originally, yeah? As you understood them? Well, the only thing that's happened now is your intent has returned. It cannot be misconstrued now or misspelled, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's like Gad or God. I may have changed that to like the Most High or Mother Nature, or kind of
doesn't matter.
Change some things around, but you know.
Well, you can if you want, but there's no need to it, because your intention was there, albeit before it was masked in all of the mishmash of the words. So it's now when we speak, we're speaking in our affirmative. We're not leaving anything that we're saying open to a false interpretation, knowing that each word is a mirror of itself. When you discover the mirror, the words become powerless in it. Now it's singular. It's not there. You know, that's why you want proof in the physical allegory? Here it is, courts. It's all about assumption and presumption. And once you call them on the assumption and presumption, their asses are in a sling. You know, there's no doubt, right? And the only thing that can stop people from grasping that is fear. You know? Ego wants to do things like vengeance, got to get even, you know, got to sue that individual, got to put that being in jail and all the rest of it. You're still walking in the circular trap when you're doing that. Why not just take the whole thing down? Because, you know, the longer people play in the illusion, the longer the illusion stays. You know, that's resisting change, and resistance is futile. You either accept the change and move on, or, like I said, go back to your lazy boy and your TV and your reality TV and all the rest of the crap that goes along with it, and your 6-pack of beer or Coke, or whatever it is that floats your, you know, 7 deadly sins boat. You know, there's nothing I can do, and there's nothing I will do. Nothing I should do, except just observe it and say, that's not something I would do anymore. Sorry. Been there, done that. No more. I've had enough. You know, it's. Did you catch that clip of the Brazilian cops sitting down with the protesters?
No, I mean, I heard you talking about it maybe a couple nights ago. But
that was one where they actually pushed them into the sea. Right? There was another one came up where cops actually sat down with the protesters. So let's look at the allegories. Right? Those cops got forced into the waters of truth. You'll either accept the truth or drown, and then the allegory swings by literally a day or two later, and you have videos coming out with uniformed cops sitting down with the protesters. There's the crack. There's the proverbial crack. You remember the video that came out with all the German police? The Polizei walking with the German people? The dogs are not being such dogs, at least the ones that are, you know, seeing things finally. Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, just tuning into like Dean Clifford today was a good like refresh. You know, I think people are like, made some mistakes, and I better wise up, because I don't know, the cards are falling. You know. Even like the cops that have been jerks have, you know, even like, you know, checking themselves. I mean, the meatheads are a dime a dozen, but I think the intellectuals are, you know, are checking themselves at the door, or, you know, thinking twice.
Well, they better start, because intellectuals just tells me ego. I know. I know that one really, really well. You know, and I got to keep that one in check as well. See, one of the things, and as I've observed this game for the last few years, you know, coming especially on the legal side of things, that was my entry point. My initial intention and purpose was to create templates, easy things that people could understand. Have you ever looked at? Go down some names here. You as an individual, I don't know where you're at in terms of intellect or whatever the case may be, okay? But I'll ask you this,
all right,
because you know you way better than I know you, okay? Could you use Winston Shrout's information, or Dean Clifford's, or, well, just use all the names, Rob Menard, any of the individuals, Tammy Pepper, could you use any of their information and fully understand and grasp what's being said there?
Oh, yeah, I mean, Dean Clifford, I mean, he's...
Well, hang on.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Okay, I'm being very specific here. Okay?
Okay.
Because I know you are an intelligent individual. What about the guy or the girl that's working at the coffee shop? Do you think
I don't know about that one.
Right. So my approach was this. If the girl and the guy at the coffee shop and the brain surgeon can't see it, it's useless because it's self-serving. It's not serving all. It's a divide and conquer. It's serving a certain sect of society. Right? Sorry, I'm an all for one for all type. Always been that way. That's why we have this table. Everyone's welcome here. There are no boundaries. There are no rules.
Yeah, sorry to interject. Yeah, I think it's just good to know, you know, how to talk to police if they're, you know, being bullies, or...
Well, I've made it very easy.
How to hold your ground.
You don't have to hold your ground. All you got to do is get rid of the ID and just have a birth certificate on you. That's it. It says right on mine. It's not to be used for identification purposes, and they all know that. If they use it, they're committing fraud. If you manufacture your own ID, you're actually committing fraud because you're using a name that isn't yours. I don't care if you're with Divine Province. I don't care if you're, you know, walking solo, or if you're a sovereign citizen, what an oxymoron that is, or a free man on the land, or a sovereign wannabe, or whatever the case may be. I don't care what you're trying to do. If you're using a name that you think is yours, they got you by the short and curlies, and they're ripping them out one by one, really slow to make sure you feel it. That's what I'm talking about. You see, there's a fundamental little essay, very fundamental. If you put these two together, I named them both in the last essay there. If you take the long and short of it and put it alongside I, who shall not be named, which is a template, by the way, for anyone who wishes to understand it first, then use it, then you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And until people understand who and what they really are, they're not the name, they're not the entity. I don't know how many times I got to nail that one home. Listen, when I call you up... Go ahead. No, I was going to say, if I was to call you up, I wouldn't ask for your ID to talk to. I'd talk to you, wouldn't I?
Exactly.
See what I mean? So, go ahead.
I am. I was going to... Go ahead.
No, I'm done. I
was going to put I am in Captain America, you know, but I wasn't quick enough to, you know. I thought about it after. I had to fill out like 20 pages of the contract or whatnot, but thought about it after. Like, man, should have put that down.
I had somebody Skype me. I guess I've been listening to the show. Let me go down to it. And I figured as much. This is what I'm talking about, boys and girls. All right, here was the message. No names mentioned here, but no longer in their contacts. I just found that out. There's actually a couple here, and that's good. Let them blow off, because they're not ready for what we're trying to share here. So they wrote, define failure. Free man I am, yet you ask me to understand? What is the point? See, I looked at that and said, oh, okay, there's someone that's still stuck in the fucking legalese nonsense, thinking that understand is a literal word. Just stand under. I get it. I got it 3 years ago. Right? So there's a whole lot more to it. So my answer was this. Understand as in comprehend, beyond the literal definitions of layman and legalese. The word understand was an early wake-up call to the word deceptions. Code busted now. And for that, I was deserving of a, I don't want to be your friend anymore, Kate, because you're a cunt. Okay, fine. You're not ready for me. And that's okay, I love you anyway. Go back to sleep and go back to getting your ass handed to you. I'm just trying to, show people a way to not have their ass handed to them, where they can remove the fear when they have the true knowledge of what's going on. The system cannot function without your name. How many times have I said that? How many times do I need to say that before people go, oh, really, Kate? I thought you said, wait a minute, you said that before a couple of thousand times. Yeah, I did, actually. If you've been listening to me for any length of time at all, I've said that. Many times. And I'll continue to say it. Lose a name, win the game. Yeah. But here's the thing that the ego cannot accept. The ego cannot accept that for a lifetime you've been committing fraud. Unknowingly, but you've been committing fraud. And the ego says, I didn't do anything wrong. They came after me and did this, that, and the other. Well, I've been there. Cry me a fucking river. Seriously. Get over it. Move on. Have a look at why. Gee, I wonder why that happened. Gee, I wonder why I'm getting my ass handed to me again. Right? I'm not looking outside to blame. Yeah, we got a lot of individuals out there that are just nasty. Absolutely, I've met many of them. Typically wearing robes or armed to the teeth with a 9mm penis extension. That makes them all tough. Yeah, sure it does. Tough until the point you go, uh-oh, I'm stuck in the meat stick game. Yeah, you are. And that's when I see these videos like the Brazilian cops sitting down, there's some of them starting to come too. They're starting to realize that, wait a minute, these are my kin. These are my fellow human beings. Why am I the one marching for bits of paper and thumping these people to the ground? I mean, typically in the U.S., great example, they want the ex-military, they want the jarheads, they want the troubled individuals, they want the guys, the bullies and the bullied. Low IQ, why? Because those dogs are easy to train. Give them a nightstick and a gun, and they're like, oh, goody, and then send them out. If you go out and collect treats from people, you can come back and I'll share the treats with you. Okay, Fido? And Fido says, sure thing, boss. And they get in their cruiser and they go out and chase cars like just what dogs do. Look at the natural world, you'll see it. Dogs love chasing cars. So where is it in the human form? Well, there it is. But it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
But yeah, my father I got in an argument with today, and I wasn't even trying to, I was just doing my own thing, and he fought in Vietnam or got drafted. He was like a landmine sweeper when he was 19, and he's still brainwashed. I mean,
yeah. Listen.
Pick fights,
Well, you got to remember, especially someone that goes into the military and serves in a combat zone, there's a lot of responsibility there, especially if in any case where the individual took another life or saw another life being taken, right? You're party to the criminal acts, whether you did it or not. By omission or commission in the military, if one of your brethren kills someone, you're as guilty as they are. You're there. You're the getaway car driver in that one, right? So there's a lot of guilt there. You got to remember that. So be careful when you're pushing those buttons.
Yeah, I mean, I tried to stay neutral. It's like I just had to walk away. It's like, all right, I don't know where this is going, but
smartest thing to do, my friend. Smartest thing to do.
Yeah. I tried to walk away in the beginning. Like,
oh yeah, they want to call you back. No, the ego's got to justify, right? Ego's got to justify all its wrongdoings. I did this because.
Even corner, Go ahead.
Oh, that was it. I did that because, or you did that because.
Exactly.
And then it goes circular. You know.
Yeah.
You know. Well, here's the
that's
thing.
been my father last year. You know, just talking about anything that's real.
Yeah. Was he?
Or not real.
Did he volunteer or was he drafted?
He was drafted. He flunked out of like art school, Kent State, and then he was drafted.
Yeah.
And then people nobody supported him when he came back, and I don't know. I mean, he's an artist, which is, I don't know. I don't meet too many Vietnam vet artists. Not to say that aren't, but I guess he's a different breed, but still has the same mentality, and he's 65, I think, I believe.
Oh yeah, you get locked into that, but you see, and there's another little truth that you let loose. Because he wasn't in college, he got drafted. You see, they want to keep the intelligent people where they can manipulate them back home, and they'll just send those that they deem to be, worthy of a trench to go and do all the dying. Right? We have Jeremiah here, by the way, and Lambertus as well. So I'll get Jeremiah in. Jeremiah, how are you?
I am awesome. Discovering some things, getting those downloads, and just like speaking clearly, and whatever flows just flows, and it's just perfect. And I've been working through some concepts of a bunch of different little bits and pieces, and just trying to put something together and giving people different perspectives to look at it. And what I want to introduce is this idea that we are creating our reality, and there's three ways into which that I've thought about bringing about this mechanism, and it's been through various work that I can't name right now, but just trying to piece it together, and having some fun with it. And I can tell you what that is, and let's see. The idea that I'm bringing about here is there was this idea that we are, say, a metallic orb, right? And I'm sure you've heard of this. I heard it from Jay Widener. But imagine you're a metallic orb, right? And that's likened to a nucleus of an atom. And that nucleus is likened to a spirit. We'll say our soul essence, our light, our beingness, that we allow ourselves to be, and everything else is external from us. So that's our light, and what we're projecting, we're getting. So now imagine that metallic orb is projecting something, and it's projecting onto a mirror, but this mirror is spherical as well. So this mirror is spherical, and it's projecting a very clear picture as to whatever it is that you're projecting. So what you're seeing, you're getting. So what you're projecting, you're reflecting. And the idea is that since the orb is a spirit, then what is on the external is your soul, your soul stuff. This was from Steve Richards' kind of idea. And then I also found out that he represented this idea that on the atomic level, so we have a physical, a mental, and a spiritual kind of representation of that we are responsible for our creations, our projections. And now you have, this is the most important part, and this is the most fundamental part to us in our physical realm, that we can really break it down. Well, you have the nucleus, which is surrounded by the electrons spinning around. And the electrons are light. That's what we're seeing in our external world. It's all energy. And how we're interpreting this energy is based on the beliefs that we have about this world, based on what we were taught to believe about this world. So as we're projecting on, say, like 3 different levels, so people can wrap their heads around what this concept really is you're projecting, you're reflecting whatever it is on the external. So it is that mirror concept that you so eloquently reproduce. And I've just been working through this idea. So basically everything's energy, and we're interpreting it through our 5 sense, mechanism. And it's according to our will. And unfortunately, this world is say the same thing. It's a metallic orb. And what it's reflecting is not our will, but someone else's will. like I said, our imagination and our intention have been hijacked on a global level and towards someone else's benefit rather than our own. So if we each find out that we are the power of ourselves, that we are the authority of ourselves, and start projecting what we want rather than what everyone else wants for us, then we are already empowered, and we're creating something that we want, and we're creating deliberately rather than by default as we have been.
Agreed.
So that's my little rant.
Oh, good. That's right on the money. And I had to mute Billy out there just because the traffic went by, and it seems he's dropped off. But yeah, if you want to jump back in, Billy, that's fine. I'll just when you're not talking, I'll have to mute you just because the traffic was very distracting there while Jeremiah was talking. I know. Hey, you got a call where you can call from, but I want to bring Lambertus into the call here. It's first. I believe this is the first time Lambertus has joined us. There you go, Lambertus.
Hello, can you hear me?
Loud and clear, my friend. Great to hear your voice.
Well, great to call in the first time, because I really needed to call in today, because I found out something very important, and I realized that today, that I've been missing something for over 3 months now, and I realized today that you stole it from me, and I really want to ask you to give it back to me.
What did I take?
You stole my heart.
Tell you what, how about we share it? You can have mine too.
No, just a joke.
I know.
It's great to say something after listening for over 3 months. I didn't think I really had something to add to the episodes. So, and now I just felt the urge to say something and just let you hear something of me.
Well, I appreciate that, Lambertus.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's just great hearing your voice, and this is the thing that we need to do collectively. You know, this is about getting it together, and don't think that you haven't added anything or feel that you haven't been able to, because all along this crazy train ride we're on, your intentions have shifted, as has mine, or as have mine and everyone else's. And this is why we're seeing these wonderful things manifesting in real time. What was another great example? There was someone had posted something about Psycho Girlfriend destroys Xbox. It looked like it was just a big put on because there was way too much drama in it to be real, right? Anyway, it was a guy and a girl playing an Xbox. There's X, right? Cube, mecha, whatever, symbology. And it's I want to show you how the universe tells you when things are coming down, when they're getting crushed. And she ends up going out of her way to, destroy this thing, right? And the question was, when it said Psycho Girl, my first reaction to it was, well, I don't know who's more psycho. And as it turns out, she was playing the game with her boyfriend, who apparently won't be getting sex for a month. Lucky guy. Anyway, he gets to save his seed and actually get his intelligence quotient raised a little bit. I'm looking at this going, Psycho Girl, I don't know who's more crazy. The one that destroyed the Xbox, which for me is indicative of that whole cube concept getting obliterated, or the one that's playing make-believe murder on a TV screen. You see, because when you heard all the arguments that video games are making kids violent and blah blah blah. Actually, no, it's worse than that. You see, because when you take kids that are playing these games, and they're very violent, I assure you, especially the like the Navy SEAL ones and stuff like that. And of course, their targets are always non-white. What are the odds of that, right? For the most part, they'll throw some whiteys in it on occasion just to make it look like they're playing fair, but they're not. But here's what's happening, especially with video games, because you get so internalized looking at the game and get so into the game. What do you think those kids are manifesting outside of themselves? We already know the energy is getting stolen from us. We've already found a few ways as to how they're doing it. But this world is changing now. This reality is shifting because of what we're intending, what we're thinking, and overriding it. And every time we come up with a new concept, or we have that beautiful epiphany download that says, click, you've just downloaded something for the entire universe. Right? Not just for you. Yeah, it feels great. I got this great concept, blah, blah, blah. But what happened was you picked up something that everyone needs. You're that piece of the puzzle, that little epiphany that no one else has to find and only you were meant to. So when you start looking at the bigger picture of all these kids and their violent games, adults too. I don't limit this to the kids. The adults that are buying these game stations and what have you. These are complete mind control units, and of course the kids that they want and they're monitored are the ones that really know how to work the joysticks, because there's a job waiting for them on a real video screen where they get to kill real people using the same joysticks, called drones, right? It's perfect drone training, and it's perfect desensitization, and it's perfect for maintaining a warlike intention to keep that nightmare alive. Do you see where I'm going here? If you're staring at these violent games, whether it's cartoon, I got to tell you, these games now they're very real looking, but it's a whole concept of playing make-believe murder that's manifesting itself, and we wonder why a lot of this nonsense has been going on. Look at the correlation when video games came out to the violence that came right after it, and who was it that was doing all the violence? It was the U.S. military. And that's generally who's starring in all of these videos, U.S. and I'm not going to exclude the U.K. as well. They've been murdering people for a lot longer than the U.S. So you can't rule out the teachers of death. No. But so you look at the advent of these games, and the better they get, it seems our world got a lot more violent. Starting off with the first go at Iraq, then the second go with Kuwait, and of course Afghanistan and all the rest of it. And they base a lot of these video games on these very regions. So not only are they creating that murder intent, kids and all this energy getting poured into it, they're actually focusing it on where they want it to be. But there we go. There's another concept or a tool that the system has been using that is now dispelled. Right? So. Well, yeah. Go ahead, guys.
Go ahead. Well, I was going to say that, they've been using these tools to fabricate a reality to convince us outside of ourselves. And now they have these DNA things where you will someday, I'm sure they'll be trapped within these computer systems where they're in this synthetic world that they're trying to reproduce. It's just they're trying to reproduce the natural world. And it's causing havoc and chaos because it's like a direct equivalent opposite to this vibration it seems. So it's just that controlling mechanism that's keeping us away from our true self, and so they can harness our energy. But yeah.
Well, they got to keep it. They got to keep it entertaining. Bread and circuses in Rome. Come on down. We've got a couple of hundred Christians. We're gonna use as to light up the Colosseum, and we're gonna have some other prisoners getting eaten by lions and tigers and what was it? Lions and tigers and something. Oh my! What was that?
Bears.
Yeah, lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my! Yeah. See, and there it is. There's another click with Wizard of Oz. Why did she say that? Right. Lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my! Well, because those were the beasts of choice in the Colosseum, in the gladiatorial warfare, right?
Right.
Again, where attention goes, energy flows, and what we need to do is start spotting the things. Just want to finish this concept. Spotting the things where this attention is being utilized and becoming aware of it. It doesn't matter if the ones that are doing it aren't aware of it. Only one of us, if but one shall awaken. Now take the full context of this. If but one shall awaken to each and any and every concept, it matters for all. That's the judgment. And I did pull the universe card today, by the way, so we're well on our way. Go ahead, Jeremiah, sorry.
Well, I was just going to mention that, where attention goes, energy flows. And it's amazing to me how these television shows, like America's Got Talent or whatever, I don't watch this television, but my mom just called me up on a whim. She said, oh, there's this guy on television that is levitating. And he's using acoustic. He's using vibration, like, deep guttural sounds, like, like kind of like that. And he's actually creating levitation. Like, you see this man perform levitation on a stage, and everyone is shocked. Like Howard Stern or whatever, some disc jockey, puppet. He immediately dismissed this guy because he seems weird, outside of the norm, like he needs to be in a mental institution type of thing. And then he levitates right on stage, clear as day, like practicing these phenomenal abilities that we have, where it seems like they're desensitizing people to these amazing feats of spiritual progression.
Well, look at someone like Howard Stern, right? The guy is completely dependent upon low-level thinking schlocks that don't know their arse from a hole in the ground and like hearing someone talk shock radio, basically focused. And I mean, I listened to this years back. I listened to him for maybe about 2 weeks. When a brand new show came out, I could get it up here and whatever, to see what all the hype was about with this guy, right? And I got to tell you, every show was the same. It was how can we grow somebody out, and how can we talk about sex in a different way, and have shock radio. So what happens with someone like that on stage? They're showing it very clearly, very evidently, in living color in front of thousands of millions of people. The power of sound. In the beginning there was the word, and then you have the schlock jock, Howard Stern. Of course he's going to try to take it down, because all of a sudden everything he talks about, that guy doing what he did on stage made everything that whole panel represented and was all about useless. Yeah, I'm sure that ego would get really upset, sure.
And how do they accept that into their reality and continue to go on, to the physical realm? I mean, there's obviously more to life. This guy's levitating. How did he do that? Through consciousness, through intention, through will, through just passion, and
his natural state.
Yeah, exactly. And he's helping to bring about this way of being for other people. And that's a positive sign, and that he actually went to mainstream media, and hopefully he has good intentions. From what it seems, he does. Then hopefully he doesn't get corrupted, because who knows?
Won't matter.
Most people have a price, but yeah,
it won't matter,
Jeff.
Yeah. It won't matter. I don't care who's corrupted. The only important thing to me is that I can't be. And that's the line I hold, and I will not yield.
Beautiful.
That's the difference.
Yep.
That's why I kind of wait patiently for others to. I just click, and as I gotta tell you, holding this line is it's grueling. Come on, guys. Come on, you'll get it. Come on. And that's it. That's all I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for someone out there to levitate, all by themselves.
And just right. And be that example of that way of being. And the more people that do that follow that path, the more people that will realize that we're in a construct that is not of our own architect.
Yeah, I hear you. That was something else, too, I brought up in the essay. I'm going to make it crystal clear for you guys. And this is what I talked about last night. If you guys can't handle the truth, I'm going to ask you to move along. Because I do not want to be sharing things with you for you to get an epiphany and realize something that you're doing that you should not be doing, but still are afraid to not do it. That is going to bite you in the ass. That's the damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you find a spiritual truth, have it resonate with you, and you refuse to act upon it, that's the universe will come over and bitch slap you off the wall, Humpty. I promise you that. And it won't be your ego that gets shattered. Okay? So this is what I speak of when you can have all these shows and talks and everything that you want, but you better make damn well sure you understand the ramifications of what you're choosing by your consent to be here. You are choosing the higher road, and with the higher road are greater falls and greater potential of falls. But I will tell you this, as I said in the essay, the view is magnificent. And once you get to a certain point, and you will know when you get there, you are untouchable in this realm. That's why I get agitated. I do. I really get agitated when people say, well, what happens if the cops do that? You see, look at you, manifesting. Why would you wish that upon yourself or me or anyone else for that matter? Look what you just created out of fear. You go into the physical and you stay there. Why don't I carry any ID or anything of that sort? The only thing I carry is a copy of the fraud, just to make sure that, not that it's going to happen, but if it ever did, and it won't, it's because I carry it, it won't. They're hooked. They're done, right? Because I know that anything created off that bond that was glued to my spiritual ass when I was a baby has been peeled off spiritually. I'm no longer attached to it because I know what it is. And I know how they did it and why they did it. And I know where they captured it, through the ether, through the intent of my mom and dad. And for the system to stay in honor, you know what it's all about, courts, honor and dishonor. And every time you walk into a court, you're in dishonor if you use a name, unless you know what it is. And the only question, and this is for anyone that has any, I don't care what situation it is, because for me it wasn't about how do you solve a parking ticket, then how do you solve this, and how do you solve that, and how do you, no, it was about how do you dismantle this whole fucking thing and take it to the ground. That's all I was interested in. It was the only goal I had. What was the one wrist pin that makes that, engine have a catastrophic failure? Right? There it is. Some guy, Jesus, walked into a temple, kicked the tables over, turned the tables on them. So guess where the concepts come from? Pretty handy teacher, that guy. Neat. So we turned the tables. The original intent to commit fraud was on part of the system through non-disclosure. Mom and dad were aided and abetted in, be it through ignorance or through peer pressure, whatever the situation may be. But they went in there unknowingly with the right intent, that it was something they felt they had to do because everyone else was doing it. So there was a mass agreement there. But the real intent behind getting people to do that was to have that name given to them as a gift without consideration, where they could slap a debt obligation onto it. That's not fair play. That's called fraud. That's called an intent to commit fraud, an intent to commit deception via non-disclosure. By omission or commission, it is done. Whether the clerk working at the counter in the registry office knows that or not, but they are actually aiding and abetting in spiritual, cosmic law, criminal activity. They are going against the laws of nature, and they will pay the price for it. The piper, calling you to join them until they wake up to it. There is no one more duped than those working within the governmental systems. And there's the fundamental question: who is government? Have you ever met government? The government? Everyone talks about it. The government. Oh, I've never met the fucking government. I've met agents and all the rest of it that claim that there's some, all-powerful being called the government, but I've never met that. I've never seen pictures of it. Because there isn't. It's only a concept. It's a construct. And people buy into it. Well, you got to be afraid of the government. Afraid of a fucking shadow? Are you kidding? Seriously? Really? And then you got all these people working at the counters and stuff and, pushing paper. They don't produce a damn thing. They're parasites, all of them, every fucking one of them. Well, I make sure that this check is out. It says you're still pushing paper, asshole. You're not doing anything creative. You're aiding and abetting in the destruction of the people around you. You know, you're handing out table scraps from the king's feast that someone else is sitting at and throwing away whatever they don't want. They sure as hell won't give it to you. No, that's their gimme. Right? So we turn the tables on them. System aided, by deception, gets people, and of course by force as well. They're doing that. You know, we're going to force you to commit fraud. Yeah, well, sorry, your intent is there before the act, so it's null and void ab initio, since before it began. Nunc pro tunc, now for then. Right? Erase. That's how it works. The fraud revealed is null and void, nunc pro tunc. That's why I use words like ab initio, ad infinitum, nunc pro tunc, all the time. Proteria. You know, it's very easy. And of course, the system didn't get you to commit fraud. Your mom and dad did. They called you a name they gave away. So the system still kept free and clear. Haha, look, mom and dad did all the deceiving. Not anymore. We know that now. I know that every piece of ID I went and got was an act of fraud, and everything that was collected with it was an act of fraud. And I'll tell you something else. And you guys won't like this one at all. I know you won't. Everything you bought with money is fraud as well. You don't own it. You can't own it. Sorry. You can't own it. Because you used something that wasn't yours to use, and you used it in fraud, so of course the system's going to walk in and take whatever it wants, because you're the one committing fraud by using their Federal Reserve notes, their Canadian dollars, their British pounds, their euros, or Irish punts, or whatever the hell you want to call it. Yen, yuan, renminbi, pesos, any form of money. It's all pegged to the Federal Reserve note. Everything is pegged to the almighty US dollar. There's a reason why it's called the US, and why they have to control the US. It's why there's so much arrogance in the US. Holier than thou. How else can you get a nation of people walking around with this military and saying, rah, rah, go, you're American Army, and you're American Marine. Oh, shut up. You're United States Marine. Yeah, please. Of course, let's go around and police state the world. Let's go around and be, Team America. That's what Team America is all about. It's a parody on that nonsense. It's an allegory. It's a beautiful allegory, too. Especially the puke scene. Had enough? Oh, that movie's great. I don't know if you've seen it. It's quite something. Oh,
it
looks like,
sounds horrible.
Oh, it's done with marionettes. Like, remember the old Thunderbirds marionettes? They weren't cartoons.
I don't.
Oh, that's right. You're just a kid.
Before my time.
Exactly.
I came around Eureka's Castle. That's what I remember. But I wanted to state, like, this whole American concept, right? Well, Santos illustrated it beautifully. The red, white, and blue. I mean, you have red stripes, within white stripes, and then white stars within a blue encapsulated, square. And those stars are us, right? And that blue is the feminine essence that's being barred and trapped in, and that white, that still white light isn't accessible.
That's
and
why
we're surrounded.
They call it the bars and stars, don't they?
I've never heard that concept. But
that's why my dad always called it that. It's Old Glory, the bars and stars.
That's appropriate. So that's a perfect representation of what we're experiencing in this United States, at least here, anyways. I'm sure that the same allegory is.
Well, then start calling it what it is, Jeremiah. If you live in the U.S., that is the allegorical us, and why the us had to be beaten so much with ego, with the American dream, with the rah-rah America, let's go rule the world. America saves everybody. America is beautiful. America is great. And all the rest of it. And if you're finding pangs of patriotism, that's your ego. That's part of your program that you're owned by. So lose that. We've grown up far beyond that. And I've said it before. You know, I swear allegiance to the flag, to a fucking rag, a piece of cloth. Are you kidding me? And for what it represents? Well, what does it represent? It represents enslavement. So there you go. There's what I got to tell my, Pledge of Allegiance to an inanimate object and what it represents. Just like the government, an inanimate object and what it represents. You know, and you hear all this talk about this wanker Obama, right? Beautiful, what was in the Irish government there? I forget the deputy's name from the opposition party. Oh, she just laid Obama to waste and called him what he was. And all this talk about, and you know how I've been tracking the birth certificate and how it's being unveiled. What happened was spotted, of course, the universe sends everything in the now, so I look at it. Obama openly admits, I'm not an American, just like Bill, Bill Clinton, right? And, well, of course he's not. Of course he's not. What part of, guys, you need to wake up. It's not about Obama being wrong. Or, you can't be a president of the United States because the Constitution says that you must be a naturalized, born in America, red, white, and blue blood. No. That might have worked in 1777 or 1778 or whatever, but it certainly doesn't work now because of it's a corporation. You can check out any corporation around the world, and it doesn't matter what nationality or where they're from. They get the job because they were hired to get the job. And don't think you're voting people in. You're not. All they want is your agreement to think that you're voting them in to electrical or election power so that they can rule from Washington direct current. Okay? No. That's all. And, you hear all this talk that the Republicans and the Democrats, and I hate even talking about this illusion, but whatever. This is beautiful allegory. That they're somehow opposed. They're not. They're two doors. It's like having two mail slots that go down into the same mailbag. What's the point? International, national, local, right? 3 slots and they all go down into the same mailbag. Who cares? And that's all it is. So, and I don't want people, I don't give a shit if their egos are offended or not. It's time for you to wake up and, start wiping your own nose, wiping your own bottom. Instead of waiting for nanny state to come by and, oh, here's your check, oh, here's your food stamps, oh, here's this, that, and the other. Fucking stand up for a change. Listen, I got to tell you guys something. If I had came into this game with nothing wagered, okay? I mean, if I wasn't working anyway. I wasn't, I didn't have anything, anyway, so I'll just do this. I said, no. Me sitting here talking, I got at least 1.5 million reasons why I'm sitting here. I've got an entire existence that was cashed in. So I'm sitting in a position of saying, yeah, I've been there. I've put my ante on the table. I'm not asking people to do, oh yeah, sure, here, toss in 1.5 mil here, will you? And, you can play the game with me. No. You come to this table freely. At what point have I ever charged for coming to the show or going to the web pages? By the way, I need to say that more. cateofgaia.wordpress.com. Please, the documents are there. Ninja puts them up as soon as I get them to her. Thank you so much, Ninja. And they're yours for the taking. All right? Songs. I share everything freely because I know what it is. And as much as it's something for others to use, it's also benefiting me if you do. It's a mirror. And I'm just waiting for someone to go, you know what, Kate's got a point there. That I who shall not be named, I'm just going to put my name in there. I'm going to take that parking ticket or that fucking IRS thing or whatever, and I'm going to send that to them. I'm going to send that to the courthouses. I'm going to send that to all the law firms. I'm going to send that to all the ministers, all the government officials, the governors, and all the rest of this crap. That's what I'm going to do. That requires a whole lot of effort, by the way, clicking and emailing and stuff like that. Maybe getting a few 3-cent stamps and no postal codes and throwing them in the mailbox. Besides, with government stuff, if you want to do hard copies, it doesn't cost anything. You know, this is how we take the system down, boys and girls. It's about planting those seeds everywhere. It's about taking hemp seeds and just launching them on every courthouse front lawn, cop lawn, whatever. I don't give a shit, right? You know, here's one of the clues they gave us too. You know, well, these free men and sovereigns they're just paper terrorists. I said, what the fuck do you think they are? That's the mirror talking. Who's the paper terrorist here? Who's the one that's enslaving people with paper? You just don't like having it rammed down your own throat, do you? Well, here, choke, choke, choke.
Well, who's the one that doesn't even have a regard for the natural world? Here's a perfect example. My wife, she worked at a restaurant, and the owner wanted to remove a tree, right? So he found out that it cost like $400-something, or maybe like $1,200 to remove a tree. So what he did was he went to the store, and he got a can of spray paint, and he spray painted that tree, some orange, fluorescent paint right over it. And what did they do? Well, they came in, and they took it down without any regard for the person that had requested it. They didn't go to anyone to fill out paperwork. They didn't see anyone. They just saw a tree with paint on it, and they took it down. How ridiculous, and how much of, there's no regard for the natural world, so they don't care about it. They just want to destroy it, so we have to depend on them in some way, so...
Yeah, crazy, eh? Now, something else too, Lambertus, you just posted Borat. If you want to see the real state of America, watch Borat. If you want to see the real underpinnings of what America is all about, watch Borat. It's a beautiful parody.
Kate, I wanted to say something about what we were talking about.
Please.
We're talking about truth. And the one thing I found out is that I give a small example. I was a little child, and I was very much attached to my mother. My mother went to the doctor, and the doctor saw I was very much attached to her. So the doctor sent him to kindergarten, so he gets detached from you. In the kindergarten, I didn't like it very much there. So what I did was, and what felt very natural to me, was just take a chair and look what all the other children were doing. Just looking around and observing what the other children were doing. Then some kindergarten nurse, or what do you call that, was coming up to me and said, you can't sit down on a chair, you have to play. So you can't observe and sit down, you have to play. So what I did was, because he kept nagging me, I started to play and take all the toys out of the shelves on the side and put all the toys on the floor. After that, my mother came to get me again, and we had to put all the toys back into the shelves again. Then this kindergarten nurse said to me, "What are you going already? You have to pick up all the toys and place them back in the shelves." I said, "I'm not going to do that because you already asked me to play. So I already did what you wanted me to do. So I didn't clean up the toys and went away." That is a very important moment in my life, because I felt in that moment, already being 3 years old, that it's very important to be true to yourself. And that's what I have been trying throughout my whole life, to stay true to myself. That's why I never liked education, work, and all those things, and I just couldn't seem to find my way. Didn't want to work, didn't want to study. I did some things, some voluntary work, which I love, but what was one of the most important discoveries of me, just to stay true to yourself. Don't do anything that you don't want to do from your heart.
Yeah, dance or dance.
Yeah, and that is, you were talking about turning the tables. That's one of my favorite Bible episodes, where Jesus gets really raged and tells the other folks the truth. But the frustrating thing about what Jesus was seeing was that he was talking from his heart. He was talking truth, and the other people just didn't get it. They didn't
want
get
to.
it.
And
perhaps
that's the fight.
They didn't. Yeah.
Well, they didn't want to get it. You see, because we're dealing. There's nothing new under the sun here. Okay, what we're dealing with are the same individuals then, us, as now, us. Okay.
Yeah.
And what we're working ourselves through is letting go of this physical paradigm that has us so controlled and at complete effect to everything around us. Oh, that feels good. Oh, that tastes good. Oh, that looks nice. Oh, that sounds great. And that smells wonderful. And it's opposite, of course. Right? And those are the five senses that have controlled us for so very long. I want to share a post from Facebook from Use Cash. Always has some really interesting things to say. I like this one. It's because I was asked the other day about the Rubicon. So here's a bit of a breakdown, and it goes a bit deeper. Here we go. Apennine Mountains. The Rubicon flows west, ends up in the Tyrrhenian Sea. I'm going to expand on this as well, by the way. The purple dye that looks red of the Phoenicians, right? The Phoenicians made their boats out of the cedars of Lebanon. They built the world's first international cartel and created a vast commercial empire. They invented maritime trade. They made a purple dye and sold to royals throughout the ancient world. Tyre's daughter, Jezebel, was a Phoenician princess, and she was married to Ahab, the king of Israel. And it goes back to King Solomon sent and fetched Hiram out of Tyre, 1 Kings 7:13. He was a widow's son of the tribe of Naphtali, and his father was a man of Tyre. 1 Kings 7:14. King James Version. The infant king loved red clothing. The red king loved was in fact Tyrrhenian purple, a color between red and blue. See, there's your red and blue mix, right? And when you finally bring the masculine in, that's why purple or indigo or violet is the royal color. Roy or roi for king, all, right? Is that color because it is a blending of both red and blue, which is your divine masculine, divine feminine. That's why you see red and blue on cop cars, because what they're illustrating there with one side flashing on and off, opposing each other, is the war going on inside all of us. You're going to see those lights if you're not centered. Promise you that. Now, the King James Version, where was it? The Phoenicians, the Sea Peoples, Phoecia, Venetian mass, sacred prostitution. When you look at things, of course, when we speak of illusions, it must be phony. That's where the word phony came from, Phoenicians, right? And it was transplanted, and if you listen back around November, December of last year, it was heavily talking about Venice and the blue sky bonds, and all insurances have to go through Venice. And of course, the final buck ends up in Switzerland. Okay, that's why the Pope has a Swiss Guard. That's the armed wing of the Vatican, or the Templars, for lack of better explanation. Might as well be factual. That's what they are, Templar Knights, right? That's the military wing of the church. Now, in a loving God church, what the hell do you need military for? If a truth is a truth, you don't need to burn people at the stake for it. You don't need to cut out their tongue for blasphemy. You don't need to torture and everything else. So it's all phony. It's all just a ruse. And the longer we play in this ruse, the longer this ruse goes on. And what I'm seeing, though, lately, very much so, are all these illusions getting peeled down, where we can start to see them in their allegory when they show up. I got to say, the allegory that Patty Woods did on that bullfight, where the matador had had the bull's horn up through the bottom of his jaw and out through his mouth, right? And she went through a beautiful description of what that represented. As above, so below, right? Look at our Milky Way. Great example. Santo's covered this many times. When you look at the Milky Way itself, when it gets to the big section of it, the widest part, it looks like a serpent's head eating its tail. And that's what we're doing here. We're constantly eating our own tail. So there's that circular train track that I spoke of in the essay. I didn't say circular, but it's a circular train track that we have to get off the tracks. Get off this crazy train. And the only way we're going to do that is not by doing the same things, thinking that somehow some monetary windfall is going to change the world. No, because you're still trapped in the same illusions, the same... the divine feminine is going to remain trapped in that mode of operation. This is about taking it all down. This is about taking down the Federal Reserve note, the whole system. And don't sit there and ask me, well, Kate, what are we going to do if we don't have money? And I don't give a shit. I don't think the world's going to stop on a dime, literally and allegorically. And it certainly isn't going to stop for one either. So look at the word dime, 10, Dios, me. Of course, on the back of the old dimes, the American ones, the silver ones, were, there's Mercury, and of course they had the fasci. It's all there. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, Walking Liberty. Yeah. Why'd they put a female there? Well, just, right? Statue of Liberty. Go ahead.
But those are the questions that people ask themselves. How can I survive when I'm no longer in the system? I just say that, but that is what I noticed.
Well, I'll tell you, it's a whole lot of faith in that. Universe seemed
That's
to,
true.
The universe seemed to come through when I needed it. And not only that, I had other people needing help as well. So here I am trying to survive, hanging by a thread, and other individuals, save me, rescue me. Okay, well, don't mind me, I'm living in a tent. I'll get you somewhere, don't worry about it. So, you just do. Universal will show up. And it comes in strange ways. You may not get what you want, but you certainly get what you need. And here's the thing. Yeah. When the whole system collapses, and it's going to, so guys, get ready for it. How am I going to buy food? How am I going to pay my mortgage?
Really? You don't have to.
Right. Really? Now you understand the power of the banksters. Yeah. Wouldn't it be a great world without all the banksters controlling all the illusional money, trapping your divine feminine spirit? Do you guys recall, and this is going back some very early reading I did years ago, where gold, the consciousness was trapped in gold? Well, that's the same concept with money. Right? It's only a concept. It's not like consciousness is in gold. Well, there is consciousness there, but it was the allegory to say that when you worship something outside of yourself in order to have things that you as a god can create, you're denying your own ability to create. So this is why I've been really, as we walk down this yellow brick road, getting people focused on the present, to get them into their ask the universe, ask and ye shall receive. I think Jesus said that too, right? Yeah. Okay. So that's the only answer I'll give anybody. If, when you're ready to make I'm telling you right now, you will never be ready to make this move. You do this because you need to do this. This is the only thing that you have not done in your entire life outside of their box. Actually making a choice of your very own. that you are not ready for. This whole system makes you ready for jobs, makes you ready for, families. It's all about getting you, mentally prepped, as it were, into everything that you ever go through in your life. They got guidance counselors at school to pick your career or to pick your job or whatever the case. They make it so easy for you to lean on them to do everything for you except wipe your nose and wipe your ass, and actually when you get a bit older, they'll do that for you too. Okay? They won't like it, but they'll do it for you. Just to make sure they keep you enslaved, to keep this paradigm in existence. There's your Egyptian pharaohs for you. And they're still doing it.
So the reason why you make the scary unknown leap is because you can't do anything other if you don't want to stay true to yourself.
Well, exactly. Ninja, you jumped in there, hun. Oh, where did you go? There you are. Oh, it looks like we lost Jeremiah.
Yeah,
are you there?
Hi, Kate.
Yeah, there you are. Hi, hon. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm all right. I love when you answer that. I'm all right. It's all good. Yeah, so what's on your mind, sweetness?
Oh, nothing really. I kind of had a few things to say, but that was, I don't know how long ago, and I think the moment has passed. Hi, Lammy. How you doing?
Hi.
Nice to hear you joining and taking part.
Yeah.
Come on, younger.
Hello, my neighbor girlfriend.
This thing about the system, coming down and all that, and people wondering how they're going to pay their mortgage. Hello, didn't we just say the system would be down? What mortgage? Oh my God. Yeah. If you're worried about how to feed yourself now with all the drastic cuts and jobs, they're the ones that are causing the lack.
Yeah.
Without them, there is no lack, I think, anyway.
Well, exactly. And do you think that the apples are going to stop growing, and the the green onions and the oh yeah.
I mean, the thing is, you don't have to look so very far back to see a time when things weren't quite like this. There might have been some buildings of the beginnings of this massive construct we're now living in, but it wasn't that difficult for people.
Well, even that, Ninja, you go back to the Great Depression, right? They talk about it like in history, the Great Depression, the people suffered. No, they didn't. What the banks were afraid of, where people had rough goes of it, and they're the ones that went to the cities. They followed the Whore of Babylon to the cities. The ones that were actually out doing, you had the Dust Bowl and all the rest of that, but they really milked that one out. The only thing that was going to collapse then, and why they had to flip this over, were the banks. The banks were exposed, completely exposed. They were exposed for the lying fraudsters they were, that they didn't have the money and the gold that the people owned that had put them in there. It was J.P. Morgan that came in and bailed out the stock market. Right? He was only interested in saving his own ass. So all this talk about the economy, this and this crashing, that, and all the rest of it, they don't want it to crash. Because I'll tell you, when it does, here's the thing that's going to get set free. That's the ghost ship. That's the wrist pin on that engine that gets pulled, and the catastrophic failure, and all the souls, your divine feminine, is set free. Because that's what we're here to reclaim.
Well, that's what we're waiting for. That's what I want anyway. Yeah. I don't care about the notes in my pocket, or the silver, jewellery around my neck. I can't eat that. That can all go. I don't care. It's not interesting to me. I have it because I have it. But if the day comes when I don't have it, I'm also good about it.
Yeah, that happened to me on a grand scale. And we got 2 minutes left here, so I'm going to give my quick shout out. Anybody that wants to get in the show, you'll have to Skype in or call in. Area code 661-467-2401 if you want to catch the rollover. And, of course, refresh your page. You got 2 minutes to do it. And click on your Skype to bring you in on the board where you can continue listening as we continue on with this. Or you can, as always, grab the download and catch the last hour about 10 minutes after we're done. So there you go. And big thank you to criticalmassradio.co.uk. Paul Giovanni, Lisa, and the crew at Critical Mass, thank you so much for the platform provided every single night where we can gather around this table and change a universe. It's pretty cool. It's really cool. And remember, Alex...
Someone...
sorry, I was just going to mention one thing before we go off the air. And remember what Alex Jones says. You are the resistance to fear porn. Okay? Be that.
Oh, thanks, Alex. I'll remember that.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead, Lambert.
I even like your Santos impression better.
Yeah, that one?
Yeah.
Yeah. I love Santos.
Hey, Kate, you know what you're doing?
What's that, hon?
You know what you're doing, what we're all doing when we come here and when we get it. We get you know what we're doing? We're putting sugar in their fuel tank and bananas up their exhaust pipes.
Exactly. Exactly. And we all know what happens with sugar in the gas. It seizes the engine to where it'll never run again. So
that's what we're basically doing, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's actually it's funny because someone had mentioned about living next door, and I said about going around the bend. I think it was it Disco Silk? It said something, and then I said, oh yeah, and thank you for the cup of sugar the other day. See?
Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, we're back to sugar again. I'd forgotten that, but I did see it earlier. That's right, in the room. Yeah. And here we come again. So the sugar might not be good to eat, but it's certainly good for something.
Well, yeah, you know, there are good sugars and there are not so good sugars. So
yeah, we don't put the good sugar in there. We put the shitty white stuff in there.
Exactly. We save the real stuff for sweet, if you want that. We're in the recording part now. And Galen, do you have anything? I hope I'm saying that right. Do you have anything you want to jump in with, hon? Not sure if she has her mic working yet or not, so. No, I get okay. Well, oh, your mic is working. Your speakers. So you're gonna have to. Oh, what happened there? Oh, just lost her. Okay. What are the odds? Oh well, there we go. Yeah. Anyway, we'll carry on here. You guys still got me, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. All right.
Are you on with Johnny later?
No, I'm not actually. I meant to say that Thursday night. We're gonna do it Thursday. That's good because it was so like humid here today and sweaty. It's finally getting nice, and I have a certain new top that I want to wear, and I definitely couldn't wear it tonight.
That would have been too warm if it was warm. Yes. Yeah,
it's gorgeous by the way.
That's not for the summer unless it's a chilly evening.
Yeah, it was Disco. Thanks, Disco. Her cups of sugar are organic, of course. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, don't give us that for the engines then. We don't need that.
No, we'll save that because our bodies do need proper sugars.
Yeah. No, I've got nothing to say really. I just thought I'd say hi and say hello to Lambertus and talk about sugar and bananas and about it really.
Tonight's episode, sugar and bananas. Love it. Perfect. Yeah, so really what it boils down to, here, one sec, just double checking. Okay. Love back. That's the thing about Skype. We get lots of tags when we roll into the recording when people aren't rolling in with us. There you go. Love back. Okay. Let me see. I'm gonna try to rescue Galen. See if she wants to say something. I was getting an echo from her microphone. I tried to chat the other day and her mic wasn't working, so obviously it's working now. So we'll see if she can get in here. But, let me see. You know what I'm going to do. Yeah, it's kind of neat. As soon as I hit enough buttons with people, it either makes or breaks them. You can tell whether they're owned by an ego or not. So, and apparently, the comment that was made to me that I answered, the answer didn't even get back. They had removed me from contacts before I. That's it, hit and run, right? I'm gonna say my piece and then go silent. Okay, that's good. Great, no problem. Not gonna offend me. I'm gonna say my piece every night anyway, so it doesn't matter. Whether I'm on the air or not, doesn't matter. And that's the thing, guys. We are working together, and all of these collective ideas that we formulate and go off and check for ourselves, that's the stuff that recreates this world. And I get to witness that in real time. It's up to us if we can see it or not. But it's about what we put our focus on, and that was the whole intent of that. Well, there was a lot more to it than that, but of that which we focus on, we create. And we're stuck in a past tense, if you will, quite literally, in the way that the speed of light happens. It has it can speed up and slow down. That has been proven. So the light, though, the main light source is within you. That's where your now begins. And that's where your now ends. It starts and stops with you. Right? You are the push me, pull you. And when you're stuck in the physical illusion, yeah, you can have a hard time not being distracted enough to take the time to look in for yourself. That's why I've been focused for a very long time in getting people to do that. You got to get deep, you got to get dark, you got to get home. The good witch Glenda said it very well. You've had the ability all along, but you had to learn it for yourself. And that's what we're doing. We're learning it for ourselves. And who knows how long this cycle, this particular level continues. It'd obviously be an infinite thing for others seeking the same lessons that we have come to learn. And always remember, the Creator, you, me, all of us, we have a sense of humor. And it's going to be fun if we can see it. We've been distracted for far too long looking at all the nasty things. But without those nasty things, we don't have the contrast to know how beautiful and wonderful things can be. Creation is perfect on all levels. Be it perceived as good or evil, doesn't matter. There is good and evil in everything, even in good. The old saying, right? The road to hell is paved with good intentions. You see, because the problem with having good intentions and trying to be there and help and do that and the other, what you're doing is you're actually interfering with another being's ability to fall flat in their face to learn the lessons. So you're slowing them down. That's why we need to take the time to simply walk away. Plant your seed, walk away. That's called the cookie jar effect. If you love something, set it free. If it comes back, it was meant to, and if it doesn't, it never was, and it's not your problem. And I've had more than one conversation regarding the family unit being the most divisive. And until you can hold the child of your enemy in your arms and love it as much as your own child, you will be lost in the wilderness. You will spend all that time. That's what the wilderness is. Until you finally decide that that child is equally important. Because without that child, your child will have to deal with it. That's unconditional love. The other saying, love thine enemies. Well, enemies, e nemesis, no vengeance. There's not a whole lot of love in vengeance. That's why I had an issue with, vengeance is mine, saith the Lord. Really? Seriously? Yeah, okay. Well, you go and take your circumcised penis and shove it up your own ass, bud. Okay? Because anyone that would send a child to be sacrificed, yeah, you're not getting my vote. Sorry, that's not something I would do. You know, we have to take on the protector role, the divine masculine, for the children, and the nurturing role of the divine feminine for the children. You can't have one without the other. You can't have magnetics without electric, and vice versa. And out of the magnetic, or the Magdalene, came the electrical intent. And it became self-fulfilling, where electricity can create magnets, and magnets can create electricity, of course, because that's where it came from. The invisible forces. I've not heard of too many people being magnetized to death, though. I've heard of a few being electrocuted. Yeah, well, I'm sure with the iron content in our blood, you get a powerful enough magnet, it'll certainly play havoc with you. Can you imagine getting picked up by a magnet strong enough to do that? Of course, at that point, all the iron in your blood will get pulled out through your skin, then you drop down, right? Talk about low iron content. Sorry, just had to throw in a bit of fun visual there. But yeah, I don't know really what else to say, guys. I really don't. There's a lot of responsibility in the paths we're walking, and we can't deny that responsibility any longer, because as soon as you deny it, you wear the opposite. You get the reflection of it. If you throw a ball against the wall and you know you have to duck because it's going to come back at you, and you don't, you're going to get hit. And that's exactly what that's how truth works. That's why, and I have to share it, a lot of the choices I made terrified me. Because at that time, it was just, there was no one else that I could really turn to in terms of asking questions, and because a lot of these people were, stuck in the quagmire of the legal. The only thing I could even consider with that stuff were stalling tactics, but I knew I was too far along for that. But I knew I had to stand. I knew that paying a mortgage was fraud. I knew that using the name was fraud. I knew that everything that I had done in my life using that name was pure and utter fraud. Until I uncovered where that intention came from. And that intention was most certainly one of a lesser benevolent being. There was intent to deceive me, where I did not have any to deceive them. That's where I stand. And I assure you, it has not been an easy walk, but the universe gave me the blessings of tearing away all that which possessed me. And that included family. That included everything. Friends, family, any concept of trying to survive in this system. Everything I had put together, everything I had saved, a lifetime's work, with much of what I had stolen. Literally. For what? For someone else's deception. And all I do now is I patiently wait. And I wait until others can find the strength to take a step in that direction. To take responsibility for the truth. That great teacher said it very, very clearly. The truth shall set you free. It's the only thing that can. It's the only thing that can protect you. And it's the only thing that can destroy you. A truth stood in protects. A truth denied destroys. I was talking the other night about versions of the truth, what your version of the truth is. There are no versions of truth. It is or it isn't. Look at the word ver-shun. Ver, verily, truth. Shun. What's your truth shun of the truth, your mistruth? I don't have any versions. I see what is. I accept it. There's no denying it. When you have that beautiful click moment, there's no way you can deny it. Because you know. And you've added that to your arsenal to either protect you or to have it go off in your ammo bag while you're carrying it. And all I'm trying to do, and that's why I'm cautioning people now, if you're not ready to stand in the truth, please stop tuning in. It is not my intent to create harm. If you come here, it's your free will choice. I grant you that, inasmuch it's my free will choice to share. Our table is level. I shall be held blameless inasmuch as you shall be held blameless. When you make your choice, it's yours. You wear it. My grandfather used to tell me when I was a kid, you make your bed, you lie in it. Quite aptly put. That which you sow, you shall reap. If you plant ragweed, expect a sneeze or two. If you plant an apple tree, which I planted 3 today, expect apples. Expect nourishment. What kind of fields are you sowing? What kind of fields are you planting? If you're planting fields of illusion, be it based in money or, court tricks and all the rest of this shit, well, you're going to harvest it. I'm sorry, that's how it works. If you're, and that's what when I was talking with Billy earlier. He was talking about Dean stuff and all the rest of it. Yeah, these are quite brilliant people. They are. They really are. I have nothing but respect for them. The only thing that separates me from that walk, where I've walked that walk, is the fact that I saw how futile it was and how incredibly divisive it is with regards to people that don't have the same wherewithal to do that. Do I honestly believe that, I expect people to do what I do? To do, set up their own radio show and all the rest of it and do this, that, and the other. And no, this is my walk. This is my experience as you're part of the same consciousness. That's why you're here. Like minds attract. Isn't it funny when quite the opposite? Like poles repel in magnetism. What we are all becoming are the same pole, the same magnetic center, where we will attract the others in. And that which you put out, the energy you put out, you will attract that which you need to get out of a polarized condition. You see, when we gather here neutrally at 0 points. We are neither North Pole nor South Pole. We are in the 0 point center of creation. The Magdalene, the magnetic, the Ma, the Mater. We're dead center here, guys. That's the difference. We don't have the polarization of like poles attract and or repel and unlike poles attract. No, that illusion only works when you're polarized. It's when you're staring at the pole star. No, the true pole shift happens within you. As above, so below. As within, so without. Right? That which happens within you happens throughout the universe. As we shift fractally. Everything you do ripples throughout the universe because you are it. The choices you make affect all. Me, I was just tired of being part of the problem where I knew my choices were affecting all. It was about finding the answers within myself to stop doing that. I know how harmful the system is. And while we free will consent our way along with the whore of Babylon, saying, well, maybe tomorrow I'll do that, and this way I can still, stay comfy, and yeah, of course, it's fine. Your meat stick will stay comfy right up to the point you put it in a 6 foot pine box, and then you get recirculated back into the game. And that which you could not stand in this time will be there at the beginning of your level next time. And it will be there infinitely until you decide to make your move that you're not ready for, that no one is ready for. You've got to be willing to step into the chasm, knowing intuitively that in order to get across, you know there has to be a bridge. When you put your foot out into the chasm, the bridge appears. I've heard too many stories from people that, in a different way experience the same things that I did. That leap of faith. No, it's not easy. Of course not. But it's certainly a whole lot easier than having to come back and repeat the whole damn thing over again. That's what you want to do. Power to you. Absolute power to you. I love you. You want to play in the game, that's fine. It's just a ride here. Don't get caught in it. Don't get too deep in it. You'll end up being someone like Queen Elizabeth and sucking the blood out of a child, right? Raping and murdering and killing. Going out with your hubby and shooting 50 wild boar in France just for, something to do, shits and giggles. I mean, these entities are of such a low order. I mean, you can tell the lowest forms of life on this planet are the ones that are hungriest for money. That's it. It's easy to spot. Those that lust after money are lusting after, your flesh. They're cannibalizing everyone else. So those with the most money are the biggest cannibals of all. And they're the lowest on the ladder, the spiritual ladder. They are so far down. And they have a long way to come back. If they ever come back up. That's entirely up to that part of the consciousness. That perspective. The all-knowing part of us is the fail-safe anyway. Creation is perfect. It's our inability to see it the way it is the imperfect part. So we have to clean our own windows, clear off our own canvases, and stop basing everything we talk about from a position of what you were taught to believe through church, school, culture, race, religion, gender. Lose it all. Because it's all a construct to own your mind, body, and soul. And that for me is not rocket science. No. There are people out there that have done and will do far greater things than I. Absolutely. And there are others that will, that won't. But they will do their thing from their perspective. And when you understand that everyone is collectively one, that we are all connected, that we are all one, just different perspectives of that same consciousness, the whole notion of separation and this is mine and that is yours goes right out the window. Very quickly, I might add. Very quickly. There's no jealousy there. There's no envy. There's no lust. There's no greed. There's no need for it. Because you're stepping back into that co-creation. You hear people talk about co-creator and co-creation all the time. They haven't got a clue what they're talking about. Co-creating what? Do you even know who and what you are? Or are you just spewing off some more New Age bullshit? You're just spewing off something you heard from somebody, on the net or at church or whatever, and you're twisting it to your own sort of groove thing? Or is it something you've actually experienced? When you take that step, it's not a leap at all, it's a step. You're just stepping off the tracks. Let the train go by, you keep getting hit by it. Some pretty neat things start happening for you. Universe loves a courageous soul. Once you get a grip on your cowardly lion, universe is there. And that's something I question and ponder every day, given the situation. How much more can I endure? The universe knows I'm a stubborn bitch. The truth in that one is I don't know. I don't know if I have a breaking point or not. I guess we'll find out. But I trust in the universe and myself enough to keep walking. And if for any reason the universe says I've done everything I need to do and I get taken out, or whatever the case may be, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to keep walking anyway. Don't know if any of you guys caught, again, flipping through, just checking things, young lady and her ex-husband, pilot, at an air show crashed their plane, and both, of course, were removed from the game very quickly, instantly, actually. And as I was watching the video, I noticed a few things about it. One, they didn't have enough time to be afraid. Period. Okay, so it was like, well, whoosh, done. It wasn't like they had to fall, 6, 7, 10,000 feet like the people in Shuttle Challenger had to experience. These guys. But I looked at the plane. The plane was flying upside down when it occurred. I thought it was interesting. I looked at the allegories. I thought, okay, don't be distracted by what happened. It's just what it is. Have a look at what it's trying to say. So this plane was flying upside down. So I thought, yeah, that's pretty much here. There's the movie Upside Down again. And there was an interview that this young woman had done before her last interview, basically. And right at the end of it, the commentator says, well, and her pilot is, what was her name? I knew it was Wickers. That's why I went to Wicker Man, right? I follow all my trails. One step leads to the next, one breadcrumb to the next. As it turns out, her pilot was her ex-husband. I believe Charles Swenker was his name. Anyway, definitely not a good thing in terms of how we perceive this physical realm. But here's this plane flying upside down, and the young lady is on the top of the bottom wing, sitting on it. Now, I'm looking at it, and I have to invert this in my own head. I'm going to do it right now. But I thought, there is the representation, allegory of the divine feminine and masculine separated and flying together, ex-husband, ex-wife, right? Even though they had been separated, they were flying together. And there was absolute trust placed from the divine feminine in the divine masculine. And never mind what happened, there's a bigger picture here. I also saw that divide and conquer of that whole aspect of ex-wife, ex-husband that had been separated, still flying together, and that the plane, or the realm, as in a prairie, a plane, right? P-L-A-I-N. The plane was represented by the aeroplane as it was flying upside down. And just as they were coming across the airfield, not sure what happened. I was trying to think of it from a pilot's perspective with the stick. What happened? And because it was like absolute dramatic wing drop and right into the ground. Like it was instant. And I can't even imagine flying a biplane upside down personally, but that's another story. Spins were enough for me, thanks. Spiral dives, yeah, okay, those are real not comfortable. But anyway, so there she is sitting on the wing. Now, let me just flip the plane over. So she was on that, so that would make her. She was on the left wing, right, which would be the Cain representation, where Cain had been flipped upside down. So the mind was turned upside down, and it was the Cain wing that dropped and hit the ground and was destroyed first. So I saw that as an allegorical representation of the control of the divine feminine and masculine split being destroyed. And in as much as the situation around it, as far as these two people, my gratitude for how quickly it happened was boundless. Neither of them, I'm sure the pilot knew a split second before, because he was the one in control of the airplane, that something had gone wrong, or that he had done something, maybe slipped a foot off a rudder, and just, because it just flipped, or it could have been sudden, lift loss. If it's flying upside down, you're kind of doing it backwards, right? The whole idea of flying is to have wind go take longer to go over the wing than under it to create the lift. So it's actually working in reverse. In fact, it's gravity that holds planes in the air, by the way. Gravity pulls the air down, which provides the lift up. So I thought that was an interesting allegory as the universe was presenting, as I'm asking, show me and tell me what it is I need to see and hear to give me a gauge on where we are in this game. And that was one of the things that came up. And out of something extremely devastatingly bad, I chose to look at the incredibly good. And that is, for me, it's still very hard. A lot of things that I have to look at. Again, if you want to catch a serial killer, you got to think like one. These dark concepts that I've had to immerse myself in. If I was a vampire, what would I do? If I was, pedophile, what would it? Well, I experienced the reverse of that, so I already knew what that one was all about. But it's taking the wherewithal in order to fully understand something by immersing yourself in that which you would never do, that which you would never choose to do, in order to see it. It's the only way I can find a contrast so that I can bring things forward to find the 0-point balance in the middle. If you want to find halfway between up and down in a limited environment, well, you have to know how far down you can go and how far up you go to find the middle point. And our middle point, our 0 point, is in constant fluctuation. In the Jacob's ladder is infinite. And the center point is only where you decide it to be. It's a free will choice. You can decide to be inherently good or inherently evil. That's your choice. Those are the only two roads you can take. The only thing left is center, neutral, where you can see both at the same time. So you're on both roads and neither. You are all things and nothing at the same time. That, for me, is the trick. And it's not easy to stay there. It's not easy at all. But once you find it, once you truly find it, and you can sense it, and I've said, I don't know how many times I've had these beautiful epiphanies. It's like, oh yeah, this is great. Oh, where'd you go? And then you try to remember what it was, but you got it. You just can't explain it. You don't know exactly what it is anymore because that instant of that epiphany has left you. But you got it. That's the thing. And what I was saying earlier with Jeremiah, when we were talking about putting focus and intention on something, that which you focus on, you are manifesting and creating. And I want to go back and listen to what Jeremiah said a few times. That's what I mean. I love listening back because that's the mirror talking. Yeah, I'm seeing it from this perspective. How is everyone else seeing it from theirs? So that I can merge and open up that millimeter-wide slit to see all of Mona Lisa. Because I am the experience of you, in as much as you are the experience of me. I am the sum total of all my experiences external. The only true reality I have is that which is me internal. That's why no one can ever know your name. No one can ever know your experience, because only you have experienced what you have throughout this game, be it here and now, previous and after, in the illusion of whatever, multiverse we choose to be a part of. But I do know that what happens here happens across the universe. It has to. We are but one. And that being said, there's not one drip of arrogance in it. It's not like we are the universe. Well, we are the universe, and the universe is us. We are the net sum total of our creations and our ability to create. And we're just trying to experience ourselves. So keep your eyes open. Don't be afraid to look. Some things are very, very difficult to look at. But there's something in it for you to see. All you got to do is turn off the emotions, turn off the intent, and be the neutral observer. And see it for what it is showing, not for what it is in an illusional state. Death is an illusion, there's no question. Beautiful video that Bill Donahue did with them trying to destroy a photon of light. Oh yeah, we destroyed it. Pink, there it is over there. Right, we didn't destroy it, it just displaced time and space, you moron. It's consciousness, you can't destroy consciousness, dipshit. But they tried. Oh, they'll try. And they'll keep trying. And there'll be a whole lot of Homer Simpsons going, don't! Didn't get it that time. Here you got all these idiots looking for the God particle. Where else? The CERN Collider in Switzerland. What's the capital of Switzerland? Bern? Yeah, Bern, baby, Bern. Yeah, it's all there if you can see it. Time to turn it into Swiss cheese. But here you got this multi-billion-dollar contraption that they're trying to find the God particle. What is it, the boson Higgs or something? Yeah.
Higgs boson.
Is it Higgs boson? Okay.
I think so.
Well, go figure. I put it in the mirror, right? What are the odds of that?
Yeah, imagine that.
What are the odds? Pretty good, 100% apparently. But it's crazy. You cannot. I'm sorry. You cannot find the answers in the physical. The only thing you will find in the physical are the effects of the cause. It's been created. It's all past. Look for the allegories. And the more you see, it might take you a little while to get some practice on it. I'm still looking at things, and of course, see the literally go on and wait. Stop. Allegory. What's the allegory? What is it really trying to tell me here? Okay, well, there's water there, so that's truth, mystical. Okay, what other parts are mystic? There's a fire there, so that's, and looking deeper into it. Looking at it from the divine feminine, divine masculine at the same time. What is the creation and what is the intent of what I'm looking at? Yeah, I know it's an obvious picture of a bunch of cops getting pushed into the ocean by a bunch of kids and all the rest of it, but what is it really saying? What is the universe trying to show me via code? That's why they have everything with a system is all about codes. Everything here is an allegorical code. The codes have to mimic something. Everything in the physical universe that these monkeys have been doing is a pure mimic of what creation itself is. The man-made laws are a mimic of the cosmic. And when we buy into them, we're actually empowering them from a cosmic level. Best stop doing that. Hey? Maybe? Just saying. No, I choose to look a little bit deeper and from a slightly different angle than most people. And I'm now starting to see a whole lot of other people that have shifted their viewpoint. They haven't changed their mind, not at all. I'm not here to change anyone's mind. Not a chance. Your mind is perfect. The only thing I'm offering is an opportunity to, hey, tell you what, take a couple steps to the right and check it out from this view. You know, it's like that one allegory I was talking about yesterday. They had the 3 different news media outlets showing the same picture, but parts of it were cropped, depending on where it was being shown. The picture was of a American soldier giving an enemy combatant a drink of water. Now, on Arabic TV, the picture they showed was complete, where it had another American soldier holding a gun to this guy's head. There was another one in the middle that sort of showed a little bit of both. And then, of course, CNN only showed the picture, enough of the picture to show the American soldier helping the enemy combatant, making them look like the good guy. That's how this game works. How are you looking at it? All you have to do with the CNN picture is take a little step to the left to see the guy holding the gun. And I mean, hey, you could have went right the full distance the other way, where it would have showed, crop out the American giving the guy water and just show the American holding the rifle to this guy's head. Completely different intent. But there's the classic duality of warfare anyway, right? Let's go and blow up and kill a nation so we can go over and help them and rebuild it. Yeah, that's wise. Yeah. It's about as intelligent as a popcorn fart, as far as I'm concerned. To what end? Really, to what end? So you can build it up and go back and blow it up again? So I just I do worry looking at it, but I know what it is. I'm not gonna. Yeah, it was Al Jazeera, I believe. Thanks, Des. Yeah, at least Al Jazeera, they do put stuff out there, but again, remember, it's still bought and paid for. It's still illusion. These are things that you can look at for allegories only. Don't be looking at it for literal news. Look at it for the deeper meaning of what's changing and what the controlling or would-be controllers have to tell you, but don't like telling you. But they have to. They got to tell you everything. So when I saw that Xbox getting trashed, that to me was another takedown of the whole religious construct. When I saw the cops in the water, I saw that as system being forced into the waters of truth because of what we're doing, what we're putting into the Akasha. Whatever you want to call it. I don't know what the hell to call it. Upload. Where we download from, us, creation, we upload back to it. And everyone gets to go, check that out. That's why I call it a table, because whatever we upload goes to that table and we all sit around and feast on it. It is the horn of plenty. It is the cornucopia. It will never empty. So upload. Download, upload, download, upload. Right? These are the seeds and the harvest at the same time. So look for the allegories. Yeah, the cops getting pushed into the water. All that told me was the system, those in the system are getting bathed in truth. And they have a choice to either yield or drown. And then, of course, the next day or a couple of days later, you see the same uniformed guys, and they're sitting down with the protesters, and you got smiles on their face, and the crowd's cheering, and what have you. That is a shift again. That even those, and that, I've said this many times, only those within. It's not us to awaken. We're here to awaken that part of us. We're not here to beat up the 5-year-old retarded child. We're here to show the contrast. I remember one cop supervisor, I looked him square in the eyes. I remember he thought he had it, when he showed up, it was me and my 2 daughters in the car, and he thought, we got a problem here. There's 5-6 cruisers around, so I must be dangerous, right? Yeah. That was the 3rd time I was targeted from Craig Nye. and Rob Davis from the Guelph Police Services. Yeah, Services. Yeah, damn straight. Anyway, I remember the supervisor, and I talked to him later. His name was Steve. Really nice guy. He had actually worked in the Child Crimes Unit for 12 years up in Toronto. And I bowed to him. I said, thank you. You know, I only had to endure it for about 9 months. I can't imagine dealing and confronting that nightmare, even, you know, looking at others having went through it and experienced it for 12 years. The guy that I talked to in Ireland had done it for 28 years, for crying out loud. His name was Brian Bell. You know, I looked at him. He came, because one of the Jarhead stooges was asking their very limited questions because they don't have anything to go on. They got a little notebook, and they went to cop school to learn how to write tickets, and they give them maybe a dozen or so statutes to work from. I remember asking Craig, Craig, what law school did you go to? You call yourself law enforcement. You must have went to law school. You had to. You can't claim to be a law enforcement unless you've got, you know, full study of the law. There's it was academy training. Oh, okay. So you've never been to law school, so you don't have a fucking clue. Okay. Just making sure that we're on the same page here. But anyway, this supervisor guy, Steve, came to the window and he'd asked me something, and I answered him and said, well, you're being a little defensive there. I just smiled and said, defensive? Here, let me show you defensive. I'm not the one standing outside a car door with guns and surrounded. Here, let me show you what defensive is, my friend. I looked him square in the eyes and I said, I love you. And this guy is 6'2", 6'3", shoulders dropped. Even the one standing around him, the energy just dropped. I said, that's how defensive I am. That's how dangerous I am. And I guarantee you, that was probably the first time in that man's life that he ever heard anyone tell him, I love you, and meant it. From an unconditional position. Love thine enemies. You catch more flies with honey than you will with vinegar, boys and girls. It's not about beating them up. This is about changing our intent. This is about knowing that if anyone needs help on this planet, it's them. They are committing all sorts of crazy things. And again, it's the mirror to show us what good is, right? They're showing us all of these crazy things of evil and the rest of it. And how long have they been here? It's quite a cry for help, isn't it? So it's about changing our perspective. Dare to step to the right a little bit and have a look at it from 5 degrees different. Have a look at it without considering your beliefs, your culture, your religion, your nationality, your gender, or whatever. Take all those things and ask yourself the same question every time you do. Ask yourself that question. Is this something that I thought of, or was it something that is implanted in me from the system? Oh, yeah, it is. Okay, so I better change that. Have a look at it. It boils down to a very simple question. What would I really do from a neutral position? If I was the observer only, not the judge. See, the observer is the judge, but it isn't at the same time. When you observe something as being right and wrong in your perspective, the only judging you have done is from within. And the judging says, I will do that or I will not do that. Judge not, lest ye be judged. So the only one you can judge and forgive is yourself. It's very easy. Well, it's very simple. It's not very easy. There's still a lot of program to fight through. I got little chunks of it here and there. But like I said, I have no problems. Anytime the ego shows up, I'll bring out mine. There it is, a little 3-headed bastard sitting in the cage, just waiting to get out. Keep it on a short leash. But it's one of those, click button expandables. And when it needs to go, there you go. Fresh meat. Go feed. And it will. And then I'll leash it back in and go, see, that's what you're dealing with. You want ego? I'll give you ego. This is what ego can do. and I'll have a field day and fun doing it. Fire up that chainsaw, 3-headed dog, and I'm good. And then I put it away just as quickly. I don't need it. I have shared the story of listening to myself as I'm going off on somebody, and I'm telling myself, okay, Kate, that's enough. You can shut up now. Whoa, no, wait a minute. Fucking dog isn't done yet. Okay, Kate, you said your piece. You're just being a bitch. You're just being an asshole. And I'd have to tell myself 4 or 5 times, okay, done. Give it up. Done. Okay, you happy now? Yeah? That's why I know where it is. Because I had to watch it control me. I had to get mad at myself for letting it control me. And then I entered the neutral zone. You see, in that's why I used the reference there. In Star Trek, when, say the Romulans or the humans or whoever entered the neutral zone, either side, what was that? That was an act of warfare. Right? You can't be in the neutral zone. This is our separation so that we cannot fight with each other. And if you enter the neutral zone, we can too, right? So it's a mirror image of what we are. The neutral zone is where there is no conflict. The only thing that will create a conflict is the 2 opposing sides being let into the neutral zone without being ready for it. If that makes any sense. No, it's about making our choices, boys and girls. It's about making our choices. And I don't say boys and girls derogatorily. I say that because I'm trying to appeal to the child within. I'm not going to turn around and say, ladies and gentlemen. No. That's a little too stiff for me. I'll leave that for the AJs and whoever else in the world. Not interested. If it isn't fun, I don't want to play. It's that simple. Anyway, I got about 10 minutes left here. Any final comments there, Libertus or Ninja or anybody? Put your hand up, please, and get the last words in, and I'll close it out with a tune.
Yeah.
There you are.
With Kate.
Are we having fun?
Yeah, we're having fun.
Good.
And I'm wearing tonight, first time, my new panties, so...
Oh, good boy.
Yeah.
No. Get in touch, baby.
I was thinking about what could be the hardest thing to accept or to see, is that maybe all things are good and evil.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Everything that's the problem with duality, right? When people choose one, they negate the other. You have to choose both. If you want to see it, you got to choose both sides of it, right? You can't pick up if you toss a coin, you can't walk over and pick up the head of the coin. You have to pick up the tail too. Okay? And just because you can't see the tail, that's as I explained yesterday to someone. It says if you're standing at the head of the dragon, the tail's coming around and smacking you upside the head. And if you're standing at the tail of the dragon, the head's devouring you. That's your cosmic serpent tail, dragon eating its tail in the Milky Way. And that's what we have to do. We have to kind of back off the bite a little and go spiral. You see, because a snake eating its own tail is circular. We need to, spit the tail out and let's lift our heads up, and then we start creating the spiral. So we're not locked into this continuous little cycle here. That's what I see as the allegory of the as above. That's one of them anyway. There's many, many more. Want to do a little bit of research on Ophiuchus tonight as well, and connect some of those dots. Still have to go back through the Wicker Man as well, what the Wicker Man was, and quite a hideous way to sacrifice somebody, burning them like that, but that's the way it goes, right? But anyway, if nobody else has anything else to say, I'll finish off with a song, and we'll call it a night until tomorrow night. Double header, by the way. Oh, I should mention that. Are you going to join me tomorrow, Ninja, with Critical Mass Radio on the main stage from 6 to 8?
Yeah, of course. If you want me, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying yours and Miranda's company during those shows. So I'll probably do a bit of the essay stuff and see what you guys trigger, and we'll have a bit of lexigram fun and what have you. Sounds good. But it's on the main page, so you can tune in at criticalmassradio.co.uk, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard, 6 to 8 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, or if you're in Holland, 7 to 9. And of course, the normal time, 7 to 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and midnight to 2 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time, for the every night Knights of the Round Table gathering. Okay? So on that happy note, I'm going to send out a song to you guys, and this is Who You Are. Oh, better do this, because I like doing this, just because. Love you all. Take care, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now it's our turn.
Ever woke up when it just can't get much better? Feel the sun on your face even when it's rainy weather. When nothing matters, just as long as we're together. You're the sun to me. You're the sun to me. I can't remember ever feeling like I'm feeling. Head in the clouds all day, got me flying, got me reeling. And there ain't no way my heart can't be concealing. You're the sun to me. You're the sun to me. And I find just a little bit more and more each day. Another reason that'll settle in. I know I found my way. All I had to do was look far enough to see. You're the sun to me. I got my reasons, but they won't need explaining. But why I smile all day, even though it's always raining. 'Cause you're the one thing that is constant and sustaining. You're the sun to me. You're the sun to me. And I find just a little bit more and more each day. Another reason that'll settle in. I know I found my way. All I had to do was look far enough to see. You're the sun to me. And I find just a little bit more and more each day. Another reason that'll settle in. I know I found my way. All I had to do was look far enough to see. You're the sun to me. Ever woke up when it just can't get much better?
You're listening to Critical Mass Radio. Now, it's our turn.
Video provided by VerdictProductions.com.